All right. Looks like we are live. Let's see if I can remember how to do this here. It's been a while. It's been a little bit. I'll tell you that. Um, are we live? Somebody give me a thumbs up. All right. Looks like we're working there. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, everybody. And it's been a little while. Trucking up. All right. Thumbs up. You can hear me. Good deal. I think I might have forgot how to do this. But wanted to go live today. I finally got some time. It's been it's been busy. I tell you that, and I've been under the weather for a while, dealing with some challenges there, and you guys all know what's going on in the freight market. That's no secret to anybody. Hold on, let me give myself a thumbs up here on the video. There we go. There we go. We got it going now. Yeah, it's been tough, hasn't it? Every day, every day. By the end of the day, I feel like I've been in a boxing match all day, just exhausted mentally, and that kind of drains you physically. Uh, just trying to book freight and do the everything the best we can. And we've had some wins, we've had some losses. It's tough. I think everybody's probably dealing with that right now. It kind of seems like the party's over, huh? A little bit. Um, anybody needs to vent. I know it's stressful. Uh, let it all out. Go ahead. Uh, I feel also truck mechanics aren't paid properly. Well, I tell you what, the dealers and the shops probably are. Man, I've seen some rates well over $200 an hour now. Whether or not that's making it down to the mechanics, we have no say in that. Uh, one thing's for sure: at any given time, somebody's getting it. Somebody's getting paid. Not seeing it much on the flat step deck side. Yeah, 'tis the season for flat right now. Things will be kind of kicking off here with building season coming. Uh, and in reefer, everybody's kind of looking forward to the produce season coming up. I was reading an article yesterday though that they're kind of expecting this produce season to be a bust. So hey, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Not hearing a lot of good news anywhere, are we? Fuel prices. Fuel prices are, well, nobody needs to tell you what they are. That's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious to everybody that rates are down. I think it's pretty obvious that volumes are tough, man. I tell you what, that's the key right now. If if volumes were up, we'd be doing okay. But the low volumes is a catalyst to a lot of other things happening. The lower the volumes go, the lower the rates are going to go, and that's sad. Bidding season is here. Largely, we're still on a lot of these. We're still on last year's rates. Bidding season is here. Volumes are down, so you're going to see brokers cut each other's throats to get the freight. It's just sad reality, and that'll trickle down to us. So, are we at bottom? I doubt it. I doubt it. Uh, doesn't seem to be a lot of great things happening right now, is there? But I hope everybody's hanging in there. I really do. We're hanging in there. Things are tough. They're not. If I was to sit here and tell you we're making as much money and everybody's doing as well as they were 6 months ago, I'd be lying. It's not. It's not the truth. Uh, if you're just starting out, man, I tell you what, you picked a tough time. I'll tell you that because day to day, you really got to be on top of it. I feel for all you guys, like I truly do. That incidentally, I got okay. Stop for a second. I got to back up a second and issue a little bit of an apology. I have been quite sick and in a good deal of pain here for the last better than a month. And I tell you what, when I'm not feeling good or I'm in pain, I get a little freaking cranky. And if I've been short with some people or or, or not very nice, that's not. Just know that that's typically not me. So I do apologize for that. I tell you what, when you're in pain and it won't go away, uh, that sucks. And still dealing with some of that. Had some challenges, but anyway, I apologize for that. Then get back on track and start doing better again, right? But it's an ongoing process. Anyway, if you're a one truck guy and you're in dispatching yourself, your own authority, I really feel for you right now because I'm I'm at this computer all day, every day, and it is a challenge to find good freight for my trucks. Uh, if you're behind the wheel a good part of the day, I really feel for you. Like, I don't know how you're doing it. Sometimes you're going to get lucky. Persistence is the key in making yourself available. Sorry, my voice is still a little shot, but I do feel for you. And we've had a lot of dispatch services pop up over the last couple years here, and I still think most of them are largely garbage. But I mean, if you can find somebody that's going to charge you a very, very low, reasonable amount of money to help you find some freight, uh, because right now, I tell you what, a load will come up. Like, I got notifications set here. I'm on the desktop version of DAT, and you can set notifications when a load comes up, meets your criteria. You get a little chime, and by the time I'm on it, when I pick up the phone and call, it's seconds, and most of the time that load is gone. So I can't imagine how you guys are doing it, that um, are having to drive and sleep also, right? And it's going to be tough. So if somebody can help you for a reasonable amount of uh, words, if somebody can help you for a reasonable amount of money, maybe it's time to look into that. Now, I still wouldn't take 90% of the dispatch services that are out there. I still wouldn't. There ain't no way. Uh, Everybody and their brother could be a dispatcher for the last couple years. It's dispatching was easy. All you had to do was look and say, "Oh, there's a load, great amount of money, I'll take it." Now, you need somebody, like, preferably an ex-driver that's done that, like, and knows lanes and freight and has some contacts. That's the only way I would pay somebody to do it. And um, other than that, it's just going to be a lot of time on your part. What have I done? Um, we have some direct shippers, and I ain't gonna lie, they've been short on freight. They haven't had orders. I mean, they have the product to ship. Orders are down. There was a 2-week period last week and the week before where they had nothing, not a load. Now this week they sent uh they sent a few loads over. I didn't have any trucks here. I had them out doing other things, but that's uh that's pretty short on freight right there. So what I've done is gone out and try to rekindle some old relationships here, and we got one going again. I think it's going to be we're going to work the hell out of it. I tell you that, even if it takes a little bit of sacrifice of covering some extra miles empty, or if we have to take a little bit of a hit coming back, we're coming back to those loads because they pay good and they have freight. So that's what we're doing. And also, I'm trying to strike up a better relationship with somebody I've been dealing with out east. Um, but they only have so many loads. But hey, we're gonna do all we can for them. So that's what I'm trying to do. Those are my first calls. I'm not really hitting the broker boards first. That's second. But that's what we're doing. What are you guys doing? How's everybody hanging in there? I know people talking about right away off the bat parking their trucks when fuel spiked. Man, if fuel didn't go up like it did, things would be a lot different right now. But I don't think fuel prices are coming down in any meaningful way anytime soon. What I don't think I've really done a live or much since all this happened. I've been away for a while. What kind of struck me about the downturn this time is how fast it happened. You have markets up and down, freight up and down, rates up and down. But it's almost kind of like just somebody flipped the switch one day. It happened very quickly over the course of a couple weeks. Things were on gradual downturn, but then all of a sudden they went really, really low, really fast, and that's uh, that's cause for concern for me. Something, well, a lot of things happen. Obviously, we have a new war and or whatever, however that affects everything. Um, New policies, right? Um, but I tell you what, I hear a lot, and I don't disagree with this on the whole, but I don't think is what people are hoping for. People are saying give it 6 months, you're going to be able to buy equipment really cheap. I think equipment prices are coming down, but I don't know if they're going as low as what people are looking for. I don't. Like they're going to stay elevated, and it's kind of that puts it closer to the perfect storm scenario where rates are down, fuel is up, volume's down, and equipment's still expensive. Uh, it's not really coming down yet. We're better than a month into this. A lot of people have parked it. February, 20 some thousand new authorities, a record. I tell you what, if you are thinking about getting your own authority right now and going out and running spot freight, I tell you, please don't do it. You don't know what you're jumping into. If you got a hookup, if you got, I don't know, you're gonna power only for a company and it's pretty solid, or what have you, that's different. Y'all can hold for just a second. I'm this business hours here. I have to take this phone call. I'll just be 1 second. It continues. It continues. Is anybody else getting like 1 out of every 5 loads canceled, but they don't tell you till you get to the shipping window to pick the damn load up? I got more tow news in my receivables file right now than probably freaking loads. Like this is ridiculous. Here, somebody's okay. Paul's gonna come in, and I gotta handle something. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I just got something kind of bad happen. Can you? I'm gonna mute myself a little bit. Can you kind of
Okay.
talk about what you're seeing going on with freight? We'll get into that other thing in a little bit. Everybody,
Okay.
I got a big question I want to ask everybody. I needed some opinions here, what you guys think. But for a second here, Paul, can you talk about what the hell happened here?
What? What?
Beginning of the year, the data was pretty good, wasn't it? Like what everybody was expecting, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Things
you're
went
talking about.
things went bad south. So, uh, can you talk for a little bit? I'm gonna handle something here, and
Oh. Okay.
I will come back.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
you
What
can
are we
just
gonna talk
ramble.
about? Just ramble. Okay. All right. I can do that. I'm good at that. I can do that. Yeah. So, any rate, yeah. So there's the right now. What's happened is there's freight has volume has dropped. It's dropped pretty dramatically, especially over the past 2 years or 20 months. We've been used to the freight volumes being at record levels. I mean, the levels that freight volume has just been incredible. It's been where we've never experienced it before. We had such a perfect storm that on the flip side, when things were going to change, when volume would go away, there was probably going to be a pretty dramatic impact. I'm not saying that volume has completely gone away. I think there's still some volume out there to be had or to be produced. But right now, there's even a perfect storm where you came up on bid season, right? You have the bid season. There's freight that goes away. I think that a lot of shippers probably pulled freight forward. Um, They brought freight in early, anticipating that it was going to be a challenge, or better yet, just anticipating that they were going to need to have stuff on their shelves, right? Shippers needed to have inventory. So they brought a lot of inventory in early. And so this time period, it's probably where they're not as busy or don't have as big a need to do that. Plus, you have the bid season. Plus, you have we came off of Chinese New Year. What else happened? There was something else that occurred, but and it's normal, honestly, around this time for freight volume to drop. So yeah, it did fall. So right now, I think a lot of people who have heard me, they probably know what I'm going to say. I'm always going to be about building relationships. That makes a difference. I have a newsletter I'm going to be putting out here probably today, I'm sure. I had went through a bunch of information that I had. I was just doing some homework, some research, just kind of looking back to see what has happened in the past. And I came up on an article that I had saved, and it was from August of 2019. And that article, it referenced, if you were reading it, you would have thought it was written today, because it was talking about freight volume retreating. That there was not as much freight volume as out there as there was in 2018, and therefore it's not going to be able to accommodate all the carriers that are out there. But if you have put yourself in a position to be around or to win after freight volume goes away, where you have developed relationships, then you're probably gonna be around through that downturn. There is where a lot of people did get into the business because it looked lucrative. Is just like anything, whether it's gold. There was a time where gold was just skyrocketing, right? And a lot of people got into that. It's just like that. So a lot of people did decide to get into our industry because they saw an opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't understand the market, if you don't know the history, then there's a possibility that you're going to run into a situation that doesn't look familiar to you, and it may be a challenge in regards to what you do during that time period. So again, I'm always going to go back to building relationships. That definitely is one piece of the puzzle that will help you through these times, and also will help you grow, be more stable. But we are in a situation where you can't do the same thing.
Right. All right. I'm
You're
back.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear anything you said, but I agree with you. Whatever in the hell you said. People are still watching, so you didn't blow this thing up.
You remember you said that, okay? We've got it here on tape.
Yeah. I got to continue doing things here, but we're going to continue talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. I did hear some of it. I had my headset on for most of it.
Okay.
Why so sudden? Or did you talk about that?
Why so sudden? I mean, I would say the reason being is, and I told you about it. I had put out a newsletter. It was the January 29th newsletter, I believe. And basically at that point in time, I actually circled the information showing that there was low volume coming in overseas is what it projected. And that was going to be, that would hit the shores in about 4 to 6 weeks. And right on the 4 to 6 week mark here in March, well, last month, freight volume dropped. Now, is that completely the reason why this happened? No, I mean, I definitely think it had something to do with it, but we did have the bid season, we had people, I did mention a few things here. Now I got to remember what they were, but you had, and not only that, during this time, if you look back historically, there is a dip, but it's not this dramatic. And I think coronavirus, I mean, I'm gonna say it, the pandemic, I believe that it had a big thing to do with it, because we've been talking about it a lot. You know, we said that it would turn, right? The
Right.
reason why we had all this volume is because of the pandemic, right? I mean, there were so many things at play, and it created a perfect storm to where we had, you go back and look at the freight volume, Adam, and it's historic. All of it's historic.
Right.
Even where we're at right now, it's more elevated than 2018,
See,
where
and
we're
that's
at right
scary. That scares me
now.
because, you know, it's not so great right now. If we're still
Mm.
elevated, I don't want to see what not elevated is,
Well,
right?
yeah, and two, there are people that have come into the market. You know, there's been capacity built up, but here's the thing: we needed capacity, right? At the time, we needed it.
Hmm.
If the semiconductor chips had were being produced, we would probably have a lot more, right? We would have, there's orders that have been canceled, right? So we would have a lot more capacity out there, and eventually that capacity, or not the capacity, but the volume would go away as corona, or I'm sorry, as the pandemic would ultimately subside. There would not be such great demand. You know, people are out and about and they're not purchasing like they were. They're not getting the government money, you know, like before. Savings is being used up. People are trying to buy homes because the rates are supposed to go up to taper down on this hot economy. So there's so many things at play, right? Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
we're
And everybody, we appreciate everybody coming in today. You know, if you like having Paul here, hit the thumbs up. Stick around. We got something we want to talk about. Um, we need we need to ask y'all something. We need some input. We have some ideas. You know, as always in here on this channel, we try to bring solutions, not just, you know, problems. So I just want to give everybody a chance to come in if they're going to, and see, because we have a big idea, and we want to know what we all think. It's in its infancy. It's a concept at this point, and we need to know if it's worth going forward or not. We need to see if there's any interest.
hmm.
Um, Paul, what's the warehousing situation like?
Warehousing.
Yeah, there was a point when you were talking to a lot of people. You know, you talked to that one company that
Mhm.
does a lot of warehousing, and they were like, stuff's
Mm,
in the aisles. We can't get rid
mm.
of it.
Oh,
Any information on that? Are brokers making money? I mean, you know, we all have our conceptions of what's going on.
yeah.
Is there any way to see what their margins are? You know, are the
Um,
shippers beating the brokers? Don't Everybody's mad at the brokers, and I get that, but we got to remember brokers don't control volume. They
right,
can they can control rates.
right.
They cannot control these volumes.
That's
So
true.
hey, if they're in, you know, if TQL and Robinson are having a battle, we're stuck in the middle of it, and we're going to pay a price.
Mm.
Any way to know? I mean, that's a lot I just threw at you, obviously.
Well, yeah. Well, let me see. What do I remember you asked me? Okay, so you asked
Warehouses.
about warehouses, right? Um, what we were talking about back then was DHL, right? DHL. I
We
haven't.
never said the name, so that's on
You
you.
didn't? Oh, okay.
No.
There's it. It's out the bag. I'm sorry. Oops. But they had a lot of, and I don't think it's any really a big secret because they did a lot. They put a lot of, they invested a lot. I think it was like $360 million, right, in their North American, or their America's operation. They were looking to buy planes. They were looking to restructure within their warehouse and
Hmm.
do some other things. And so the information I had was that they were walking over boxes. There were boxes all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Back then, and it was really a big deal. You know, they had communicated with us. We were going to see what we could do to help. But obviously, the problem was much bigger. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
it's just like the ports. You know, if there's a lot of freight coming in, and there's not enough space, well, what's going to happen? They're going to sit on the water, right? I mean, in January there was 109 ships sitting on the water. So with this company, they just did not have the proper facility, to handle what was coming in. And
Right.
so as far as that goes, there was all this money that was to be invested to change some things around and do what they needed to do. So I don't know what happened in that situation, but I do question that. I might have put in a newsletter, I think, just a question in the sense that I wonder what their strategic move is at this point if things just kind of slow down. You know what I mean? I mean, do
Hmm.
we still put money into what we were going to do? And if we do, is it that we're anticipating another pandemic? You know what I mean? Or because, to get volume to where it was or has been, right? Um, you see what it took to do that. And, that's not something that we would just
I,
do on
I,
our own.
I'd rather not have that again.
You
All
didn't,
things
you didn't,
being considered.
you don't want that again? You wouldn't want to.
No, no. Enough with that.
Is was it a little too much for you?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I could live without all that.
Well, I tell you what, it was there was where, and I'm not. I'll just be open with you. There's when things are going really hot, like it was. I don't my phone doesn't ring as much, right?
Right.
And people are really open and willing to communicate with brokers and move freight.
Hmm.
They're getting paid well, and I get it, but again, I'm always like, even in the good times and the bad times, you want to be building those relationships, right? You want to always do that. But I mean, it's a great time. It probably still is for some
So
people.
yeah. So last week, I think it
Hmm.
was last week,
Hmm.
we were on the phone, and I had to call a broker and talk to him about something, and um, I kind of did a mini interview on the spot. It was a
Yeah.
major one of the bigger brokerages,
Yeah.
and had some questions I want, some things we wanted to know. So I put you on mute and had brought you in the conversation here.
Mm.
Number one, how did I do? Do I pass the Paul communication test and talking to people? And number two,
Mm.
um, the things that he said. He was pretty open and honest about what they're seeing. What did you think of that? And basically he said, what are the things he said that they don't know why volumes are down like this, and
Hmm.
they got their finger on the pulse of things.
Hmm. Right.
They're a major player.
Yeah.
No, no, it wasn't Robinson.
No.
Um, and he said, we bid our lanes. What did he say? A quarter at a time.
Yeah.
And
Right.
now their bids are up, and they're trying to get more money because of the fuel. He
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
but they're just not given. He says that a lot of times we're lucky to make $20 on something. He was
Yeah.
pretty honest. I tend to believe him. He was a pretty straightforward guy.
I did too.
What did
Yeah.
you think of all that?
Well, I was surprised in the sense that um, I would have thought he had more explanation. I would have thought that there had been more explanation. I mean, there's explanations that we can have, and I think that the stuff we put out is valid. That we talk about. But I was definitely expecting him to kind of break it down. I had a conversation with someone uh, recent within the past week, and it's just like my monthly talk with him, and we just kind of talk about the market, what's going on in the industry, and what have you. So they've got a complete thumb on what's going on out there, and the things that he was mentioning was spot on with what I was thinking. And so, not to say that I was right, but I mean, he was kind of confirming what I came up with. And my point is that as with that company, I would have thought that they would have he would have had some points that he would have brought to the table as to why things were happening. But then again, as he said, they look at they go through the same uh like for you as a carrier, you go through these waves, you know what I mean? Or you go through these when things aren't the best, or when the gas price is high, fuel is high. That's something that you have to deal with. That becomes a challenge, and they deal with it too. You know what I mean? So I was just looking for some profound insight is what I was looking for, but it just sounded like everybody's in the same boat. Is that what you got out of it?
Yeah, like they're all going to deal with the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what it was. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And
not that's not encouraging. What he said to me was not encouraging to me.
well, okay. Let me ask you this. What would have been encouraging to you? What would you what would have
If he
been
would have said, we looked at the data, we've talked to our customers, and they think that second quarter is going to be a little better. Things are turning around. We have some, they have a lot of orders. When the weather or the season starts to change, building season picks up.
Mhm.
We're seeing more orders,
Yeah.
and that the shippers are willing to, they realize fuel prices are what they are, and they're willing to, kick in fuel surcharge for
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
Those things would have all been encouraging. If they could have told
Right.
me anything that would have told me that volumes were going to come back up.
Okay.
I did
Well,
not hear any of that. I heard kind of the opposite.
then I think that I'm accurate in that I was expecting more from him, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was in on that meeting or if they haven't had gotten around to it or if they just don't know because, and I'll tell you why. A couple things in terms of like flatbeds, right, or the
Hmm.
industrial market, that is busy. It is busy. Freight is moving. The flatbed is doing better than dry van and reefer. They're pretty much in the same boat in terms of performance right now, right? And it's definitely not a rosy picture at this point. But flatbed, that's on the move. So that's doing well. It's on a trajectory like this, or maybe I should do it this way, but it's on an upward trajectory when we're talking about volume and OTRI. Okay. Rejection. And then also, I've talked to someone who's a carrier and who they were hooked up with. They said that they've given them recently two increases on the rate, on their own.
Yeah.
Um, I don't
So
know who.
my direct shippers are holding up there. Their rates are, in fact, they've given increases. Problem is, it still doesn't help them have any orders. I mean, uh, increases are great if they got no orders
Mhm.
to ship. Hey,
Yeah.
the last 2 weeks they had nothing. This week they did put some stuff out there, but
Yeah.
um, I didn't have anybody in the area here. But I also read yesterday. I don't even know
Mhm.
what site it was. You swipe to the right on your phone there, and it gives you the headlines. Uh, OEM manufacturers, truck manufacturers in particular,
Mhm.
are cutting production. Now you would think they got a lot of catching up to do, a lot of orders. No, they're
Yeah.
saying they're cutting production
Yeah.
because they anticipate high levels of canceled orders.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
well now we have this, and then that doesn't really bring a lot of new equipment in. So freight's down, rates are down, volumes down, fuel prices up.
Yeah.
You would think equipment's about to get really cheap. I think it's going to come down. I don't think it's going to go to the bargain levels that we're hoping for
Yeah. Yeah.
because we still have inflation,
Yeah.
and now you're not bringing what we expected for new equipment into the market.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, here's what I think we're looking at without having, the complete answer to everything. Things that I look at, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like to me that we're going to have some kind of a rebound, right? I'm not saying we're going to be at these major high levels. I don't believe that, but I think that I was talking to someone the other day, and I told them what it feels like is like the market and everything is kind of going through a withdrawal. It's like I'm going through detox. I am going through this weird period. But I think that we'll see it kind of have a little rebound. There'll be, and so it'll not, for what we were used to, it's going to look bad, right? It's going to look bad for what we
Okay.
were used to, is what I think. But I don't think it's going to be so dire. I just don't see that based on the things that I see now. as far as and obviously rates, they do adjust, when you have volume go down, you have OTRI go down. I mean, that does adjust. Now, let's take it to its basic form, right? Let's go all the way down to the consumer, right? They're the ones that are spending the money, right, and making things go. What are they spending money on? Are they
iPhones and
on iPhones?
iPhones and I don't know. Well, they're spending their money on gas, high rent,
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
grocery prices. I don't think there's to the average person. I don't think there's a lot of disposable income right now.
I
That's
would
only gonna,
agree.
that compounds. It snowballs.
I would
Are
agree.
we on the path to an economic recession? I would say certainly.
Hmm.
Um, there's I don't know that anybody could really deny that.
Hmm.
I haven't heard anybody really point out anything really, really, really positive coming up. Right? I mean, have you?
No, I mean, in the sense that it's, we've had this happen over the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it has been. And it is completely, there's people that it just hit them by surprise. It's like, whoa, what just happened? I mean, you don't have these numbers drop like that on a regular basis, but all at the same time, we are not at those high levels all the time. We got used to that, right? That's what we got used to,
Right.
right? So again, we're coming off of something that was just unprecedented, right? I mean, 20 months or however long it was. What is that they were talking about? I heard something, the trucking industry, transportation industry. I think they said the labor force, it actually retracted after 20 months,
Hmm.
for the first time in 20 months, I think is what that was about. But we so again, the coronavirus, sorry, the pandemic, it has subsided, and so therefore there is a situation where we're not having to deal with the thing that created all this. You know what I
Right.
mean? So then therefore it's bound to change. Now, if you look at the water, there's still a lot of freight over there, right? There's still a lot of freight that needs to come here. There's a lot of freight that's backed up at the port, right? So there's still that freight that exists. Again, we're not talking about the levels we had been at, and those were really high levels. So it does look bad. Now, when you add capacity, right? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about coming down off of these extra high levels and adding capacity. And
Hmm.
so things start to change and they don't feel good, right? So to say, are we hearing anything that's positive or that it's good? What would that have to look like? Does that mean that someone says, oh, we're going to be back at those incredible numbers again? I don't know that we're going to be there,
Well, let me ask you this. Mark M is saying I had a couple brokers ask me to do a contract. That's the exact opposite of what the market is doing. It's going to rebound. And then another guy says I had a buddy of mine tell me that two brokers asked him to do that too. Definitely means the brokers know something is on the horizon.
Oh,
Are you trying to say that they're expecting rates to go back up and they want to leave you holding the bag at these low rates? Is that what you're saying? You think
okay.
that's what they mean?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you said contracts, right? This is the bid season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get contracts. They have, you know what
Oh,
I
is that
mean?
what they're saying? Yeah, I
I
get
mean,
those every day in the email.
okay. I mean, if you're talking about like a contract, right, or something of that nature, I mean, and as far as brokers goes, brokers, they can, get something that doesn't look as formal as, maybe some bigwig that puts it out. I mean, XPO, they'll put out, proposal as well.
Hmm.
You come up on Christmas, everybody's got them. You come up on the season. So that's my thought. But then at the same time, you've got to remember this too. When we talk about these contracts, right? These contracts are not something that are binding in the sense that, you're going to be left holding the bag. You don't have to move the freight. You know
Right.
what I mean? You can go somewhere else. So, and then at the same time, even if it's put in there for, you sign something or you agree to something over a 6-month period, if something dramatically changes, you can come back and renegotiate. It's been done. You know what I mean? You can renegotiate after 2 months if things change dramatically.
Right.
So, um, yeah, so
Okay.
I don't worry about that too much.
Well, here's my from what we were talking about earlier. Here's my source right here. Big Mike says one thing that's going to hit the reefer market is the bird flu. South Dakota alone has 1 million turkeys gone. Chicken and eggs added to that. Iowa
Mhm.
as well. We were talking about that before we went live today. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know. A lot of these bird farms are getting wiped out. They're mandatorying that they get killed, and then those barns got to sit fallow for a period of time, and then you
Wow.
bring in the new crop, and those take roughly 20 weeks. We could have a very bad chicken, turkey, any other kind of bird shortage here, meat shortage for you're looking at maybe 6 months.
But so
In
you're where we at? March? March, right?
April.
Or April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Dang, that's really close to Thanksgiving even.
It is. I need to start a turkey farm right here. Is what I need to do.
Wow.
Um,
Make sure they're vaccinated.
well, we'll see. So you and I have been talking,
Hmm.
and we want to put the general idea out there of what we've been talking about to see to get a feel what people think, because it's a significant undertaking. Like you and I have been talking for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
You have enormous resources you bring to the table with your knowledge, your experience, you just you. I have some resources to bring to the table with some equipment and maybe some funding and this and that. uh we're talking about possibly doing something together, right?
Right.
Okay, it's still in its infancy, so the details are not out there. That's not what we're looking to do. We want to know what people think. So we both spend a lot of time trying to help people regardless of what other people might think, and it seems there's always different ways to help people, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to adapt, and everybody needs something different. Everybody wants something different. At the same time, um, both of our times are valuable. We have to make a living doing it because let me tell you, you do a lot of work for free, and so do I. So you always talk about like the next natural step, and I've kind of been feeling it coming for a long time here that you and I, it kind of feels like we're going to end up doing something together. I've kind of
That's what
felt
you
that way.
say. Yep.
I mean, I don't know how you've felt about it, but we're just talking about this thing, and what we're talking about is, Paul spends a lot of time trying to help small carriers and owner operators secure freight. He's obviously done it for me. Um, I I've always thought Paul would be a great asset for somebody. I think I've said it on a live that I want to like do something with you before some large company comes and scoops you up, like as they should. So uh, I have trucks. I haven't had this brokerage for a year now. I've let it sit dormant, get some time under its belt. I've just recently, brokered one load. Obviously, nothing. It's insignificant. So we're talking about trying to set up something a little bit different. Yeah, this is kind of very different from uh, thinking about kind of bringing Paul in as a partnership here. This is a pure partnership. He does not work for me. We work together, and we have a good base of people here in this community, right? You talk to them on the phone all the time.
Mm,
People that are excited to do business, excited to haul freight, excited to just drop all the nonsense and go do business.
mhm.
You have the ability to sell freight, to talk to customers, right? I have this brokerage thing. We're talking about maybe putting together something here with the brokerage and on a different business model. Everybody's kind of going to this automated, click and goes, um, no personal contact, no interaction, no anything. Thinking about trying to bring it back to that. And, as a network of people here, that a lot of you have your own authority, a lot of you have trucks. hey, we're facing tough times. You all know that by now. If there was something where we were, it would be brokerage centered because it's a legal way to do it, right? Things have to be legal and proper. Where we, Paul and I, had freight direct, shipper freight, and we wanted to build a network of people like the people in this audience where we don't really want to post on the load board. That's kind of a last resort where
Mm.
we have, I don't know, I don't know how it works, if it's a Facebook group or a private group where we go get direct ship freight through the brokerage. Everybody wants transparency. It's kind of a way to do it. You are a member of this group. Obviously, you get vetted, right? We got to have people of good character that want to provide good service and be a part of something like that. And through this tough time, because we're a network of people that can provide service, maybe we have some freight, and you guys are a part of that where you haul for us, and it's all, you're rated, you get vetted, and you have a good score, and maybe the time comes where when you want to have your own freight, you're ready for that. A lot of people aren't ready for it. You're ready for that.
Mm.
You have places where you've been doing business, and you can say, hey, um, I've been working with Adam and Paul over here at such and such a company. Here's my service record. This is what my service record looks like, right? That could be a part of it. There's a lot of different parts of it, but I guess what we're thinking is it's a way to do it where you keep it small with people, right?
Mm.
Anybody can call TQL
Yeah.
or whoever for a load, and they won't know you next week.
Right.
And if you call Adam and Paul and say, hey, I'll take that load you got out of Wisconsin, and then I'm on my own. I get back, and hey, you got another load for me, and we say, yeah, you're part of the group, you're part of the network. Uh, Here's your load. You know, Obviously the beginning, there's growing pains. There's getting the freight. There's us learning each other. It's maybe as close as to where somebody's contracted to or leased onto you, but they're not. They're independent. Everybody maintains their independence. Um, what what am I missing, Paul? What? Step in here, help me out. Running out of
No,
words.
no. I mean, I think you're right on the thing is that there is a community that exists, and there's uh, really good people and good opportunity that's out there that exists. And the thing about it is that we're able to communicate with these opportunities, and we're always thinking about. I mean, I know I am. It's like, wow, there's an opportunity here to help this person, meaning this company, or whether it's a
Hmm.
shipper or whomever it is, and we don't do anything about it. And not that it's because we don't want to. It's just that
It's
it
hard.
may not have been. It's hard, but it may not have been a thought at the time. But here's the thing: there is a lot of credibility that exists. I mean, where there are people that have called in, right? People that we've talked to outside of the channel, and there's a lot of good people out there, a lot of good people that really want
There
to
is.
do some things and make it happen. Ones that I work with, my students, I mean, uh, I talk to Adam about them all the time, because it's just amazing how you hear and see the transformation to the point where they see opportunity that exists within this business, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to be transformed in that way, you're ready and eager to go after it. And I'm gonna say this, but I don't mean it in a bad way. You're eager to go after it in the right way. And when I say
Right.
that, I've been on the broker side before, and I've had carriers curse me out.
Oh, I've
And
seen them do it.
I did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But they
Well,
did it.
let
Mhm.
me. Okay, you're a well-respected professional business person. I'm a truck driver, right? So let me talk to the people here like truck driver talk, right? So
Okay.
we spend all this time mother effing brokers, right? Saying these brokers are screwing me, they're ripping me off. Okay, over the last couple of years here, we've put it out here with Paul, like, okay, this is another way to do it. This, you can get some direct shipper freight. Okay, come to realize a lot of people aren't ready for that. I get it. Whether it's they don't want to pay Paul to teach them, which is a big mistake because it's worth every penny, or they're just not quite there yet. Well, this is kind of somewhere in between. Everybody, when something bad happens like these rates, everybody's like, well, we got to stick together and not take, we got to do this brotherhood. We stick together as a group. Well, honestly, largely that doesn't exist anymore. But number two, all right, hey, here's your opportunity. We're trying, this is something different. It really is. Okay. It's a group, a network of individuals. This is our, whether this happens the way we intend it to or not, things happen. This is the intention of a group of people that we trust, right? We learn to trust you. You learn to trust us. That's how we do it. We take that to a shipper. This is what we have to offer, right? And they're like, well, when brokers come to me, they're like, well, we have access to 10,000 carriers or 10,000 trucks off the, DAT load board. That's what they all sell. We go to them and say, hey, we got the same thing, but we got this YouTube channel here of 30,000 truck drivers, a lot of them independent, that, I mean, hopefully over the last few years, we've built a good rapport with. We trust them. A lot of them, you've talked to a lot of these people. I've talked to a lot of these people. These are people eager to do business. We vet them to make sure they're on the up and up, and they have integrity and professional. And this is what we offer you. They've never heard that before. They've never had, I guarantee you, they've never had that presented to them ever before. Do we mention the YouTube channel? Maybe not, social media and all that. But I guess what I'm getting at is, are we gonna keep preaching that mantra for the next 50 years like we have the last 50 years of we all stick together? Why don't we all get together and shut down the trucks, or teach these people how important trucks are?
Yeah.
Hey, we've been trying that for 100 years. That doesn't work. Is it time to try something else? I don't see anybody else offering any damn solutions other than let's do a convoy and bring attention to it. Well, then what? You got your attention. What'd you do with it?
Yeah.
And I'm on my soapbox right now. I'm on a roll. So, I'll get over it. I get a little passionate, but ideas are big. I have big ideas. You have big ideas. Do you always live up to the ideas of that you had? No. But I mean, if you got big ideas and you fall short, you still come up pretty big, right? You still made some headway. Mike, like a co-op, kind of like a co-op, but it's got to be legal and right, and it's got to be through a brokerage. It's going to be a brokerage is what it is. Can't help that. It's got to be legal. It's got to be right. Are we going to make money off it? Yeah, but I think we'd be pretty transparent. Like we have some kind of standards. It's as much as we want to trust you, we want you to trust us, right? And in addition to that, like we're all on a common goal to build something. So if we have this group and we want to keep freight largely inside this group, people need to take the freight and haul the freight. Going to the load board is a last resort. We don't really want that. We want it to stay different, and that's going to happen. It takes time for carriers to get out and back, or to come across it in the first place. It's kind of it. Kind of it.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add to it is there is where I believe what we're looking at is being able to actually offer something to the carrier. You know what I mean? I mean, again, as I said, I've been cursed out as a broker, and I get it. I got it because I started to understand experiences that they had with other brokers, because once they moved with us, they would come back. Do you have that again? I mean,
Hmm.
same person that gave me grief in the beginning, is calling me back, and we're even having conversations about other things and what have you. So, and that was how I thought a brokerage should have been run, however we did it. And that's how we ran it. And we built relationships,
Right.
with carriers. We didn't always have the freight available, but that's a little bit of what that'd be one of the things that would be different. You know what I mean? Because
I, I think shippers need something different too.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's seasons, right? The last two
Mhm.
years, the season has been, I need trucks. I'll make sacrifices. Blah blah blah. Right
Right,
now, the
right.
season is, hey, trucks everywhere. We need our stuff hauled cheap,
Yeah,
and got to be able to weather the seasons.
yes.
Um, you pick some up and you lose some along the way,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Customers. Somebody. Where if I have one truck and one reefer, can you work something out with me? That's exactly what we're talking about, trying to do. You know. Um, but if we all know each other and trust each other, it would be nice to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is Doug. Oh, hey, Doug. Because you talk every week, right? Kind of what my hopes are. I don't
mhm.
I don't know if it. I don't know. But somebody. I tell you what. Somebody got to do something,
Yeah.
or about half of us won't be here in 6 months, right? If this maintains, right? So you know, put up or shut up. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
I
think
don't know. I
everybody.
mean, it's risky. It's risky for me.
Yeah,
Put
yeah,
a lot of it's risky for you. Takes
yeah,
your time. It takes your efforts, your
yeah,
reputation.
yeah.
Does it work? I don't know. I'm not promising anybody anything. This is merely an idea that we've talked about twice, and we've talked about it today, and it evolves a little bit every time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Uh,
I think there's experience that we have, like you said, the things that are being brought to the table, and there are pieces, there are elements that exist that can really make make it worthwhile for all parties involved. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Yes, there is a need. You have to have carriers, right? You have to have shippers, and you have to have everything in between, right? And but the elements are there, and when I say that, there are things that shippers want. You guys that have worked with me, where we have reached out to shippers, you hear it. You hear those conversations. Those that have gotten into the program, you hear them in those recordings that we have. You hear what shippers say, right? What they're looking for. And there's where we've hooked up carriers with shippers, and for what those shippers are asking for, right? You might not be able to fulfill everything, because maybe you do have one truck, or you do have, maybe you don't have enough trucks, or whatever it might be. But what we're talking about is being able to bring that, that volume to the table, to be able to have opportunities. But also, what we're talking about is how we approach it, right?
mhm.
Uh, the shippers or the carriers that have worked with me, and again, as I talk about that mind shift change that comes about, I mean, you start to see things in a different way. You'll start to see your shippers in a different way, or these people that you move freight for in a different way, and then you'll start to see how they react to you, and then you'll start to see them saying, I prefer to work with this group
Yes.
versus this group. I'm going to put one thing out there to you, just a small thing. You remember we hooked you up with there was one of the shippers that we hooked
Mhm.
up. I forget her name, but at any rate, and you put the video out, and you had a situation where they didn't take the load, I think, right? And it was 2 a.m. or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And what was that? So you even said, if you were working with a broker, things would not go this way,
No.
right?
No, I might still be sitting there,
Right.
depending on who the broker was.
Yeah, right. But since you had that direct relationship with her, and it went in a different way, right?
Right.
And so what we're talking about is being able to have those type of situations, even though we're talking broker, but we, again, as Adam talks about, we're talking about doing things in a different way. We would be just different to where the experience, I believe, would be different. I'm not saying things would be
Yeah,
perfect and rosy and things like that, but I am saying that I believe that there's a better way, to do some things.
yeah. This is a monumental undertaking. Like, both of us really don't sleep a lot already, but
Yeah.
um, to get things to the setup point and rolling, it's a big it's a big task. I mean, we're just two people. Neither one of us have like help, but we want to
Don't
float
say
the
it's
concept out
big.
there. I
Don't
think
say that.
what's that?
Because now you're making me think about how big it is.
Well, hey, I have some ideas. Like you expressed some of your concerns from last time, and like there's ways to handle these things now
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
much easier. There's some good technologies out there
Absolutely.
to handle some of the paperwork side of it, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, the response seems to be pretty positive. I don't know. Like, have we thought through every single doggone thing? No, not yet. Like I said, we've talked about this twice, but I think that I don't know. Put up or shut up. You know, at a
Hmm.
certain point,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Absolutely.
there's a lot of, for lack of a better term, bitching and complaining in this industry.
Mm.
Always has been. But there's very few people that come along and change it. Right? This industry. I mean, the big boys change it with their automation and technologies, with their apps and their uh, blah blah blah. But it very rarely gets changed in our favor. I don't think. Will this ever get big? I don't think so. But it doesn't need to be successful. Like, you can be really successful on a small level,
Hmm.
and I don't know. You just keep working the plan, and there's power in numbers too, right?
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
That's one thing that's been abundantly clear to me, made clear to me over the last little over a year, is
Hmm.
just how much power there is in numbers. I
Right.
mean, when you're talking discounts, we're talking about getting things done. When you're talking about working with somebody, and
Yeah.
not saying you can't do it with one, you
Hmm.
certainly can, but it's never going to be the same. Like
Yeah.
when you're the possibilities are endless. I mean, when it comes time, can we both can offer coaching along the way on certain things.
Hmm.
We both have freaking relationships in this industry that people can capitalize on. As far
Hmm.
as even buying equipment, buying parts, buying fuel, buying
Hmm. Yeah.
whatever. Knowing how to fix things, or you helping with certain situations. I mean, I don't know. I get excited about it, and then
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what other people think.
Well, I guess you're going to find out. We're about to find out.
Yeah,
So,
and if you're watching on the replay or whatever, hey, tell me what you think.
yeah.
Is it is it worth doing? Because it's a hell of a task, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It's true.
And I don't want to waste my time. You don't want to waste your time. Neither one of
Hmm.
us want to waste our hard-earned money. Um, so here it is. That's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I get excited from this standpoint. Uh, think about it. You got into business, right? And
Hmm.
you you started your trucking company, and you get into it, and you have ideas, right? You have dreams and what have you, and
Right.
you want to go, and then you get into it, and then you learn more, right? And there is growth that happens, right? And for me, my background. Anything that I've gotten into, it was always like a seed. Someone created the seed or the thought,
Hmm.
and then being able to take that and expand it and grow it into something, and see people be able to benefit from that. That's always that's where my excitement comes from, to see where other people are able to prosper out of that. And I would love to be able to see carriers, see them grow.
Hmm.
I'm not, like you said, promising anything, but I would love to be able to see where out of this carriers are able to get in better situations, right? Be able to see that they can grow their business and actually do it. That's really exciting for me. So it's putting something out there that yes, I would love to see that thing grow, but it's going to grow by other people growing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's what I,
you said something earlier. There's keys to this of why you would even consider it. And number one, I'd say the same thing. And the number one key is you. I would do this with nobody else on this planet but
mm,
you.
mm,
The people that have been watching you for a while, they know why. The people that have talked to you. Number two, the people in this community. Like we were talking before we went live here,
yeah,
and you're like, I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle from what I had, before, right? Is
right,
is
right.
is this community? Um, hey, there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees of success, but there is a guarantee that if you never try, you'll never succeed,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yep.
Or fail for that matter.
Mm, mm,
uh, I don't know. I think it has real possibilities. Things
yeah,
aren't going to be perfect. It's going to take time for we establish a track record, right?
mhm, right.
It's a newer business. We have to build credit. Um, you guys know by now. When you that's one thing with a new brokerage that's a struggle is building credit. Okay, I don't know if everybody knows that, but if you're a new brokerage, you do not get credit off the way. You're not going to get that little check mark by your name on the broker board. Give me 1 second here. I got to answer to my problem. Um,
Right.
uh, yeah, another Tonu coming. Okay, let me text my driver. Um, anyway, that's one of the things you said is the community here. And
Hmm.
will everybody pan out and will everybody be what we thought they were? No. Will we be what everybody thought we were going to be? No.
Mm,
Uh, you don't start way up there, right? You got to build. And one of the things is
yeah.
building credit you're not going to get rated. You're not going to get a credit rating until you've been in business for a while. So if you go on broker boards, just because every broker doesn't have that little check mark doesn't mean they have bad credit or you don't want to deal with them. Now, a lot of them, yeah, you got to watch, but
Yeah.
it takes time to get that check mark. And if
Right.
we have the community where you know us, we know you, you don't have to worry about getting paid. Hell, what
Mhm.
works, uh, that's it's better. Yeah, it's better for everybody, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot to it. I gotta text my driver here. Go ahead. Your turn.
Me, my turn. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. And there's it definitely takes time. And we've talked about a couple things in terms of um, where to start and how to build both sides. And we believe that in building both sides, there will be a point where it just makes sense now to bring both sides together. So there's an idea in regards to how to do that, how to make that happen. Um, is this what others have done? I really don't know. I'll be honest with you. What anything that I've ever gotten involved in, it has been because of what I've experienced. You know what I mean? As an example, say, just as a generic example, let's say someone is sitting around and for whatever reason on the chair, they needed somewhere to put their arms and they just decided to build these armrests on the chair just because that's what they needed, right? So that's kind of how my experience goes in terms of venturing off into things. It's like if it feels like something is missing, then I try to fill that void, and it kind of operates. I mean, it starts with myself. And then, if someone else has a need for that, then I move into that direction, and that is a big reason why Freight Connect came to be. So just seeing that need, finding out if others had an interest in it or a need for it, and then went from there. So here, what we're talking about, we've we've experienced a lot, and have had good communication with a lot of people, and we just feel like this makes sense, to do this. Um, and it's not out of any personal pride or anything like that. It is just that it makes, sense. Can bring a lot of opportunity to people. People get involved in this industry all the time, as a carrier. You open up, get your authority, and you have big ideas and big dreams and what have you. And it may not go as you expect, which is okay, but we want to be able to give that back in terms of you believing that you can accomplish what it is that you wanted to accomplish, by
Yeah.
starting the business.
Yeah. And maybe, if there's something you're after, you say, hey, I'm in St. Louis. I'm trying to haul this freight for a long time. Okay. You haven't been able to succeed as one truck. Okay. Maybe, we have this brokerage with assets. I have a trucking company. Obviously a brokerage with trucks is a big score for a company, right?
Yeah.
It's called asset based, right?
Yeah.
You can say, hey, can you try to get some freight out of this company? You bring more to the table than I do as one truck. Maybe that's something that, it's a win-win for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of possibilities. The possibilities are endless.
Mm.
Do they all get fulfilled? No. But I tell you what, you got two guys here that'll die trying.
Mm.
Hey, it just might
I
happen.
agree.
I don't know.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
I don't know. This guy's already asking how to get set up. We're not quite there yet. This will be something if maybe along the way, if it does decide that hey, this is going to happen, we'll talk about it more and more as we go.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like I don't even know how we set up this group, to where people can see our loads. Is it a website? Is it a private Facebook group? I don't really use Facebook, but hey, I guess that's the way people do things now. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't really want it to be. There's going to be no click and go here, man. There's no like the Uber and Convoy thing where you just, hey, here's a load, I'm gonna book it. I don't think that's what we're doing here. If it's an app where we can just put the loads up so you can see what it is, and then you got to call, that's a little different. But we're thinking this brings a lot of personal interaction back.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I think there's I'll say this, as you had said in the early on, there is some technology that you have, already in place, for some things. So definitely there's technology to be used to make things convenient and to help make things organized and accurate and all that good stuff. But at the same time, one of the things that we believe in is definitely having that relationship, because relationships, they do bring about, we can call it loyalty, right? But what we're talking about is like partnering, you know what I mean? Having that type of partnership. I mean, are you going to have a partner with a click and go board? You know what I mean? Is that kind of, you're not going to have that type of interaction. And I think there's value in that, right? And again, when you have ideas and things that you want to achieve, I think that it has to go beyond just that that click and go. I think that's what you call it, right? Click and go. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. And you said, are you going to have a relationship? No, you're not even going to talk to somebody they've probably never seen an 18-wheeler before, and they damn sure haven't seen one in the United States.
Oh,
I mean, well, it's the truth. I mean, anybody who's had to do, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when it comes time to solve a problem, if you don't know anything about what the hell you're dealing with, you can't solve that problem.
Yeah.
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 And the industry is ripe with that. That's, in my opinion, as a small carrier, or as anybody, one truck, 50 trucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest problems right now. Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but hey, I don't know. Racking our brains trying to. Don't get me wrong. Times are still going to be tough. Like this downturn's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, will this even happen? I don't know. I tell you what, you got one of the best, freight people in the industry on your side here with Paul. Honestly, I really mean that. I'm not even. It's their best chance. Somebody's got to try something or do something. We can't just sit around and complain about it.
Is that our closeout music? Is
No,
that
that's TQL. They can wait.
oh, okay.
But
um,
anyway, if you
but
got to get back to work, I don't want to keep you. Or
yeah,
you.
well, no, I just want to say one last thing. Like with we know that our industry, right? There's booms and there's busts, right? I mean, things are great, and then there's where it's a challenge, right? And that can mean something different to everyone. It could be that, oh, making a lot of money, or hey, I'm getting loads, pretty easily, or I'm getting consistency and things like that. So, with dealing with different shippers, you run into different scenarios. You know what I mean? You could have where a shipper is moving a ton of freight when everyone else is not. You could have where a shipper is has certain kind of requirements where another one doesn't have that many.
Hmm.
There's all these different scenarios, right? So, but we want to be able to bring shippers to the table and be able to help them, be able to support their needs. You know what I'm saying? And we want carriers to have that same mindset and want to be able to support those needs,
Right.
and be able to, and in all of that, there are opportunities that come about. There are scenarios where, hey, it's going to get me home every night. It could be that, or maybe every other night or something like that, or
Hmm.
maybe it keeps you on the road. I don't know, or
Maybe it keeps you in business.
maybe that. Yeah, that I missed that one. That's a good one.
Well, honestly,
Oh,
so the last 2 years we've talked a lot about this time's going to come someday,
yeah,
and
right.
and this is not an "I told you so." This is just a statement of kind of where we are. Heard a lot of, no, this is the new normal. It
Yeah,
can't go down because fuel's expensive. Can't go down because of inflation.
yeah,
We're here.
right.
We're here. So now everybody's got to admit that it can happen. It does happen. So hey, we make the next change
Yeah,
to see how we get through it,
yeah,
right? Because
absolutely.
last time this happened, a lot of people didn't make it. When we had these shutdowns,
Hmm.
a lot of people didn't make it. I tell you what, it was touch and
Yeah,
go for me.
yeah,
Um, I don't know.
yeah.
It's you've
I
seen this
remember.
before.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah. I mean, many times. There's a company that's still out there that I'm surprised is still out there. Um, Well, wait a minute. What was that one that did recently close out? Was CF Central Freight Line? Is that what it was?
I
There
don't
was,
remember.
yeah,
Did they
it's
close or get bought out? I don't remember.
no,
Celadon?
no,
Oh no.
no, they closed, they shut the doors, and but I can't remember because there was two. There used to be these two LTL companies. One was like Central Freight Line, and then another one was C. I can't remember, but I know that one of them did shut down recently. My point is that if it's the same company, I thought they were going to shut down years ago. And I mean, I
Central
don't know.
Transport.
Central Transport, is that the one that shut down?
Yeah, somebody just said Central Transport, so I'm gonna go
Central,
with that. Even if I'm
there
wrong,
you
I'm
go.
sticking
Okay.
by it.
That's the one that I believe I thought was going to go out of business long time ago. And there's some other ones that are out there, but then there was some, that surprised me. There was New England Motor Freight, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
they've been around forever.
Yeah, they shut down. And so there's times that are tough, and some companies, they've ran for a long time and ran on very thin margins and, just got behind on some things, and it happens. You know what I mean? Um, so the point is that there will be challenging times always. Not that all times will be challenging, but those times will come about. It's about how you set yourself up. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but you want to be able to put yourself in the best position, right? So when those times do come, hopefully you have favor, through those time periods. So, and hopefully, with what we're talking about, it can bring about those opportunities for you,
Hmm.
with what we're talking about doing. So again, those challenging times are going to come. We've been through them.
Right.
How did we operate? I know back in 2008 when we had the brokerage, I quit my job in 2008. It was a good job. It was a really good job. And when I quit, a couple months later, they talked about the economy's horrible. It's this housing market crash. And I was like, wow, why did I quit? Can I go back? But stuck it out and did the broker thing and learned a lot through that period. I mean, it was not the easiest times, but during those time periods, that's when you learn about yourself and that's when you grow. You know what I mean? So again, there's going to be challenging times that come up, but again, I think it's that mindset. It's that mindset going into it. It's that mindset going through it. And on the other end, hopefully you're going to come out much better and much better for your business, So
Yeah. If
yeah.
if you want something different to happen, you got to try something different.
Yep.
Bottom
Yep.
bottom line.
Yeah.
No, we don't guarantee anything. Hey, you want, in all honesty, it's a big risk for us too. Like, I mean, we're setting aside a lot of things. We're stepping out there.
Mm.
Um, we still got a lot to talk about, obviously. Um, but hey, I'm glad you're open to the possibility. We'll see what where the comments go, what the response is, and
Mm.
I think we got a smart community. We got a good community here.
Yeah.
I think it's a smarter, more professional, better community than any other YouTube channel. I'm proud to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody can say that.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
get
think
good calls. I get good calls when they call me, we have good conversations, and you can tell, you know what I mean? When
they're
you
ready for, like, they're ready to drop all the preconceived notions and try something different.
Mhm.
It's a scary step. It's a very scary step, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of that unknown,
Yeah.
in terms of like when you do something, especially when you do something that's different, Um, but one of the things that I've learned is, just go, just go, just do. And so based on that, whatever comes, it's going to be, hey, let's just move forward. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go, you know. And when we look back, we'll be like, oh, okay, we know what that's all about. But it can be a challenge, can be scary, and all that good stuff. But like you said, if you don't step out there, you'll never know. That's what I would call failure. If you tried something and it didn't work, I don't know, I don't call that failure. You know what I mean? I mean, it's because you learned something out of it. But if you
Right.
never ever go out and take that step, you never know. But I feel good about it.
There's something to be said for timing too, and that's
Yeah.
something we didn't discuss. You think the timing's right? I think the timing is necessary. I think the timing
Mhm.
requires something like this.
Okay.
Is is it smart? I mean, is it good to be the one to do it? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
it's a little, timing's a little scary, to be honest with you.
I think though that like we like you said, we've talked a little bit about it, and I think that the way we're talking about how to go about it, I think that that will help. So as far as timing goes, it may tell us something in the way we're going to go about it, about getting there. I think it may tell us whether the timing is right or not. But I think the approach is going to be I think that's what's going to make the difference. I really do.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
Snorlord, he left for a little bit. He's back. Wants to know what he missed. Only the best idea to come along in trucking in 50 years. So you're gonna need to rewind there, Snorlord, and go back and tell us what you think. I'd like to hear your opinion. Just put a big idea out there. You're a smart man of good ideas. Tell me what's up. So, all right, well, there it is. Anything else you wanna say?
Um no, just I
I'm
know
a I'm a I'm gonna post a link. Let me tell you, I'm gonna put the link in here, and if you got to bow out, if anybody else wants
okay.
to come in and talk about it or give any feedback, uh, come on in. Just if you're going to chastise me, just try to keep my mother out of this.
Please.
She's a good woman.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I am going to bow out. Appreciate you inviting me, man. Okay,
Yeah,
and
thanks for
we
coming in.
shall be talking. And everyone out there, keep trucking. Okay.
All right, thanks,
All
man.
right. Take care. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye. Oh, there you have it. There you have it. That's it right there. Uh, put a lot of thought into that, and the ideas kind of keep coming to me, and I can't come up with a better one than that right now, honestly. And it helps. It helps us too. Uh, I need freight for my trucks, so oh, here he is. There we go.
All right,
How
give
you
me the
doing?
cliff notes. Give me the cliff notes.
Man, how do I even shorten it up?
You're starting
Uh,
brokerage. Is that what it is? You're starting
well,
brokerage
we
with
we
them?
we, we have a brokerage. It's been here about a year, right?
Mhm.
Been talking to Paul for a long time, and both of us. I don't know how he felt. He'll like I don't know if he was felt as strongly about it as me, but over the last year, I've been thinking like we're gonna end up working together some way or another. We're gonna end up doing something together because I think that we both bring some pretty good resources to the table,
Mhm.
and he's the only one I would ever have enough respect or trust for to do a partnership. Partnerships are tough.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're talking about coming together on the brokerage side of it.
Okay.
And he brings a lot of experience on that behalf. And kind of the catalyst of the deciding factor was the community here of independent drivers and small companies that participate in this. Of we don't really want to go to the load board. We want to kind of build something here of the people in this community because times are tough and we need something on our side. And this is kind of different where Paul and I, through the brokerage, it's got to be done right. Obviously, you can't just give loads away to people.
Right.
Uh, start a fully functional, serious brokerage, and we start some kind of a group somehow, whether it's a private Facebook group or YouTube here, or however we put it out there, where we vet people in, from this community that want to make it and want to pull direct freight, and it's through the brokerage, and it's as much as we can, we keep it inside that group. Load board is kind of a last resort,
Mhm.
with the agreement that you come into the group, you try to service the freight, and our commitment to you is to try to provide freight. Now that obviously takes time, but I tell you what, no, there ain't nobody better at it than Paul, and I think that'll shine through. That's the gist of it,
That's
because I think a whole lot of people are struggling right now, and this summer they're going to struggle. Um, and any brokerage, especially a new brokerage, comes to a shipper and says, "Hey," they all say the same thing. I got 10,000 carriers. I got access to 10,000 carriers. Where all they're talking about is, "Hey, I got a load board." Right? We go
Mhm.
to we go to a shipper, and okay, we already have a carrier, an asset-backed carrier with my trucks,
Mhm.
obviously, and we have the same load board that these other people have. Oh, and by the way, we have this network of small committed carriers that we've vetted to on their service level and their professionalism, their commitment to kind of build something. As we build it, it gets better for everybody.
Mhm.
If you got freight and it's good freight, it's driver friendly freight, whatever it is, it changes every day along the way. That benefits somebody that's taking part in it as a carrier,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to every and like I said, for the last 50 years, it's the same mantra of these brokers are screwing us. This is all we all need to stick together. I've not seen anything else where anybody kind of put up or shut up on that, where we actually kind of do something that like that and all work together on it, right? Um,
Yeah. I mean that
we
sounds good. Jeff was doing something similar.
Oh, so I'm not unique.
No, I mean no. You have a unique twist on it because
Okay.
he's taken the focus of our brokerage to more on the dispatch side, and I was in your feed long enough to hear you talking about dispatch services, and I think where you were right about.
I would send people to yours. I would 100%, because yours. The dispatching you do is 100% the type of dispatching that needs to be done. You're a driver.
Yep.
You know freight lanes. You know how things work. Like you weren't running the refreshment cart at the casino last week, and now this week you're a dispatcher, right?
Yeah, and no, I appreciate it, and that's the perspective. I do more than just dispatch.
It's valuable.
Guys. We go over strategies, and with the rates hitting the cliff that they have, you got to book ahead now.
Oh yeah,
and so having an extra set of eyes. I mean, because back in 2019, late 2019, early 2020, when we were declining, and all of a sudden someone hit that switch. If you weren't 2 or 3 ahead, you were losing a day somewhere.
Oh, last minute bookings. I had a guy, he's in Minnesota right now, and he got there and the shipper said, well, they double booked the load. You got no load. That's it. I look, there's nothing. Like, he needs to come to Wisconsin. Nothing. So, yeah, last minute is a no-go right now.
Now, flatbed, I can still pull it off. I'm dispatching one flatbed truck, and he's learning. He's new to OTR. He's new to trip planning. He's new to the business. He knows how to drive a truck. He's been doing local jobs forever, and he's got his own business. So it's not like his sole income, but everything else is new. And so I've been kind of helping him with that. And as he's learning from me, I'm learning from him about flatbed, because here in about a month, I'm going to have 3 flatbeds, which blows my mind, because that's where I'm like, and I'm pretty honest. When someone calls me to do dispatch, I'm like, I know a guy that wants to do power only out of Boise, Idaho in van and do a lot of drop and hook. And I'm like,
boy, that's a lot of requirements right there.
Yeah. And look, we're living in a time where the more limitations you put on yourself, the harder it's going to be. Like my short haul stuff that I do myself personally, I'm having trouble booking my own truck because my mind, they're like, I ain't doing that. What used to be good round trip money for me because it was a good day rate is now like nothing, because it's getting eaten up in fuel.
It's probably about half of the rate too.
It is. What used to be $900,000 load, like Kansas City to Springfield, is now like $550, $600.
Yeah.
So if I go from Springfield to Kansas City, bring it back, 500, even though it's 550 for the day, what eats that up? Fuel.
And
so
we're in a perfect storm right now.
Yeah, and so it's even taken. Look, I've been predicting this for the last year and a half, but the suddenness that you mentioned in the beginning is that's caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
So it's blowing my mind. I mean, and I've been to this several times, because I've been in and out of the spot market since 2014. But yeah, it's definitely and look, I'm telling people not to panic. I'm telling people to book ahead. I'm telling people that you can't be as picky. And the difference between now and 2020 during the vid was fuel prices. We were seeing some discounts. We're seeing $1.98, $1.89 fuel back in those days. So it was okay for me to go from Kansas City to Springfield and back.
Right.
I was still making my minimum rate per day.
Yeah.
But the low volumes, that's the
culprit right there.
That's the killer, because it's like, even if I'm going to do any port in a storm and take whatever I can get, if there ain't nothing to get, then I'm sitting for a day. And if you're sitting without an APU, or if you're sitting in someplace hot, you're burning fuel sitting there, you're wasting resources, you're buying food, which costs more now. And at some point, the rates are going to get to the point where you got to keep moving. You got to keep weathering through the storm. And, and it's not a time to panic yet, but it is time to kind of tighten the belt and
open your mind and make some, like, come off the high horse a little bit. Instead, I won't do this, I won't do that. You're gonna have to do something. Because everybody else is. So everybody, for a while saying, well, rates can't go this low, this and the fuel and that inflation. If rates go so low, nobody's going to pull it. I tell you what, they're pulling it already. They're pulling it now. So change your mindset a little bit. Like there are people, you can look at a screen all day and see this reefer loaded $1.80 per mile, and like, no, nobody's going to pull that out of here. And the thing's gone in 10 minutes. Somebody took it, and they didn't. That's not the case where they came up $600 on the load, because they ain't doing that right now. Tell you what, they're pretty close to what the rates are.
My theory on that is that these people that overpaid for equipment, or they bought 2 or 3 trucks, which I know somebody personally that did that. They got to keep those trucks moving because they're paying a company driver by the mile. And so in order to keep from paying them detention, or layover for not moving them, they're going to take that load. And the people that, the good news is the more people become desperate and they keep moving, eventually they're going to go out of business. So that's why I talked about the Forrest Gump analogy, where you got to be the one boat out in the water in the storm, and while the others get beached and destroyed, you come back to them. Now you're soaking up all that freight, and that's the natural progression of things.
Yeah. It's just that time from here to there is not pleasant. It's not fun.
It's like I said, man, I've been predicting this about 1.5 years, and even myself is like, wow. And I had to book 2 loads today for a truck just to keep them moving, just to keep them ahead. And I got beaten up both times,
Oh, I tell you what, by the end of the day, every day now, I am so emotionally drained and tired. I just want to go to bed. I have no energy, and I'm not even joking. Like, I haven't been feeling good. I've been sick, and on top of that, it's like I'm in a boxing match every day. And it's emotionally taxing. It really is.
And one of the things that you mentioned that I agree with is if you can get to the low board as a last resort, that's a good place to be. I'll give you a good example. A friend of mine that does reefer freight, he booked a load from northern Missouri to here. And as soon as he gave the rate, he took it right away. So the guy's like, you know how that is when you give them a rate and they take it right away. It's like, oh man, did I leave money on the table, right? And then the next question out of that broker's mouth was, hey, I've got X amount of these. How often do you want to do these? Because they know that drivers are now, the smart ones are now looking for that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And, because they don't want to post it on the DAP board just as much as we don't want to be looking on there. And a lot of that is taking the volume out. When we were all getting $5 a mile, Snyder, JB Hunt, Swift, wherever, they all came in and said, we'll do it for $3 because we can drop trailers.
Right.
And so now they're soaking it up. And the last time this happened, I remember Snyder sent me a letter saying, hey, spot market getting kind of bad. Here's your invitation to come back to Snyder. They even had an ad on SiriusXM that was like, hey, spot market got you. This was their exact line. Spot market got you down. Come back to Snyder. We've got plenty of freight. And it was above average prices,
Right.
And that's what these mega carriers do. I mean, it's this, the cards are stacked against you, right?
Yeah.
And so the networking thing is a good idea.
Yeah. I feel like we can do that. Yeah. I feel like we can be on the other side of that, and then have it trickle down to people that are watching here. I'm hoping that's our hope. Brian Brooks wants you to give out your dispatch service information, so go ahead if you'd like to. If you're not looking, then I respect that too.
Yeah, let me put this in the chat here.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Icy Prophet says, do you think the brokers will fire the carriers they have using contract freight on a consistent basis? Well, no way to know, but I'll tell you what will happen. Over the last couple of years, we talked about keep your carrier clean. I've always been against like giving back loads for without having a really good reason, like you're broke down, or somebody held you up, you can't make it, just to give one back because you found a better paying load. Always thought that was a bad idea. and right now is when that's gonna come to fruition. Like, they keep track of those things when you fall off loads and such, and right now is the time where, if you call and they say you fell off 6 loads for them last year and didn't have a good reason, you might not get a load from that broker that you need right now. So keep your carrier clean. Um, don't just chase that absolute highest dollar all the time. Be concerned about that also.
Yeah, chasing the money, that can put you in some traps, especially now. Like there's good money going out to California, but coming out, and I don't think the reefer season is quite hit, or the produce season is quite hit out there yet.
No, and they're saying it's not going to be as good this year.
And next year, with the things that some other YouTubers are talking about with the shortage of fertilizer and the cost of diesel, I think that there's going to be less crops. And I know that Ohio and the
I'm close to that issue.
Ohio and the van market is a crap show right now, which is strange. And usually that means the farmers are in the trucks hauling freight because they're not planting yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got me a little bit like, maybe we need to take a trip to Costco and stock up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
is that ever a bad idea? Honestly,
no,
even in the good times. But here's a dispatch information: Stephen Allington at rigrunnerlogistics.com, or just rigrunnerlogistics.com.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I know you have the experience to do it. I'm not in favor of the. Last week I was a school. You get emails, right, from people, like a lot of emails.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy Cash and I, for a while now, have been getting just some crazy ones where from these people. I'm a school teacher. I have a friend that's also a school teacher. We're going to buy a truck and put somebody in it, and this is what we're going to pay. This is our plan. And I'm like, we're both like, hold on. If this guy takes your truck to halfway across the country and abandons it, you can't even go drive your own truck back because you don't have CDL. Like, just the craziness of the things that have been going on was a telltale sign of, oh, okay, yeah, this is a bubble. I mean, it's or hey, I'm whatever. I'm a used car salesman. I want to start a dispatch service. I'm like, no, you don't have any business doing it.
I get a lot of requests on new owner operators Facebook page all the time. I'm a moderator on that, which is kind of by accident. And it's 90% of the request or dispatch. And I'm like, decline. And the other side of that, when the rate, and this is something I always pay attention to, when the rates are booming, you got the any meat in a seat type carriers. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you a perfect example. One morning I woke up from a Facebook Messenger. This guy had bought a truck, bought a trailer, got his authority, put a driver in it, and he's like freaking out on what the rates were.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's your cost per mile? He's like, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you kind of need to fix that. Like, I don't know, right now. and I do it in a nice way. It's like, well,
right.
What I can do, to help, because, I had somebody on my channel, a couple of days ago that's at Landstar, and he's saying that his costs were $1 a mile. I'm like, no, fuel alone is 60 to 70 cents a mile right now.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how heavy your foot is.
Right.
And so what used to be $1,000 a week bill for me is now $1,500 to, maybe $1,800. And so there goes your net. And which was fine. It absorbed it with the gross, but now the gross is going down. So it's amazing to me, the any meat in the seat. I know people that got brand new trucks. They were able to get on these build orders, and they have absolutely no clue what they're doing.
I'd be scared to death right now, man. I'm being honest with you. Like, oh.
And I know people that have put people in the trucks that were only paying 20-25%, and their company guys are broke. They're like, I can't do this, and they're 1099 on top of that, and it's not going to work.
So
It's just not going to
I
work.
was having this discussion with Paul earlier today. It's funny you bring up the 1099 thing. So you see, the Chicago companies, right? We all know who they are, and they've built this over the last couple of years. We're paying 90 cents a mile, 1099. Well, okay, you put that on there, 80 cents a mile, 1099. Fuel, they're not all the most aerodynamic, or so they drive pretty fast. So you got to be 90 cents a mile ish fuel. Top, very expensive equipment, right? So and then their administration costs. They all got these yards to pay for, mechanics. You're over $2 a mile cost, per mile, and now you're seeing a lot of freight. Ain't much over $2 a mile. They've built a business model, I think, that maybe can't survive. They'll have to cut wages. They won't have a choice. But
Well,
I'm all for higher wages, but some of them built it up to a point where they can't survive this. Not on that. Like something has to change.
I talked to a couple of drivers at Matt's that were under those kind of conditions, and they're making bank, but they're already getting called into their office to get some, rate adjustments. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, hell, when I was a company driver, I was making like, I think I capped out at 40 cents a mile, but, so times have definitely changed, but, yeah, I mean, if your costs are over $2 a mile, it's a wrap. You're not going to survive the year.
Right.
That's not doom and gloom. That's just common sense. It ain't going to happen.
I've always been suspicious of these companies because they come out of nowhere, right? Nobody's ever heard of them before, and then suddenly they exist. And right off the bat, they got 100 brand new Kenworths and 100 brand new vans or reefer trailers. And I'm like, where'd you get the money for that? You're not a public company. Is this imported mafia money? I mean, and they pop up as fast as they go away, one right after another.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been kind of weird to me. But, I think driver wages are in trouble a little bit. Everybody's had to keep up. Sorry?
Well, no, I'm going to add to that. Okay. So if contract, let's say that like Schneider, JB Hunt, Werner, if their contract rates are better than the spot market, what happens? A lot of these 1, 2, 3 truck, authorities, what do? Power only. I know a guy that's doing very well at Schneider running power only. And then you got Walmart who came out and said, we anticipate a lot of y'all going out of business. So guess what? We're going to up this to 110 grand that you can make, being a company driver home every weekend.
Right.
And so there's something to that. And
but they have the resources, they don't have to make money at trucking.
Right. And that's who's going to win the game. Are people that have other options, other streams, kind of like what you're creating.
Or people that can have a larger degree of control over their freight, like FedEx and UPS. They set their rates. They're not subject so much to a spot market. Or who are they competing against? They're competing against each other. So the competition. If FedEx comes out tomorrow and says your package today that was $10, tomorrow it's $18, you're still going to ship the package. You're going to bitch about it all the way home, but you're still going to ship it.
Right. And
what else are you going to do? Drive it there?
Yep. And then
UPS is going to do it too.
Right. And a lot of these carriers have gone to the Amazon model. You know what? We'd rather have 100 different authorities, sucking on our tit, and they take all the risk and we get all the benefits. And I saw that at Landstar when I was there. There was people would leave Landstar, get their own authority, and then run power only for Landstar and make a lot more money, but still part of that Landstar network. So it's there's definitely a paradigm shift that's going on. That's more than just the rates and volumes dropping.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and everything is so closely tied. I don't think anybody is putting out good solutions for any of it. I feel like we're on our own. We're gonna have to provide our own solutions, you know, and sometimes that's the best way to do it is your own solutions.
Mm-hmm. I know
So
several people that pivoted and they're getting flatbeds. And even if we go to a kinetic war, which it looks like, that might happen, you'll still need to move materials. Even if they're rationing food, you still need to move materials. And, that's where a flatbed can be pretty. Flatbed is like the old days, the old days being a month ago. So where I can still book a person while they're unstrapping their load and not having to book ahead. Dry van though, that's a different story. I don't have any reefers on my crew yet, but
let me tell you what's been kicking my ass here the last 2 or 3 weeks. Cancellations.
Yep.
And I'm not blaming the brokers. This one today was a broker fault. That's their fault. So they're gonna pay. But I send drivers to the shipper and they walk up to the window and they're like, yeah, we canceled that load. Were you gonna tell anybody? You call the broker to tell them and they're as pissed as you are. They're like, oh, they've been doing this to us. We don't know nothing about it. Yeah, they're capable of lying. I get that. Sometimes you know the difference, but it's happening. Or they say, okay, we'll back into the dock, and then they come out. We don't have that. We don't have any product to ship. Well, could have told somebody.
What about the other way around? Have you heard the other way around where your driver gets to the receiver and the receiver's like, I don't even know why this is here.
I have not had that happen yet, and I hope that doesn't happen because that is a far worse scenario than them not putting it on your trailer in the first place. Once they put that thing on your trailer, man, whew, problems are problems. Yeah, everybody's got big ideas on what they would do when it happens, but I tell you what, you got responsibilities and contractual obligations. You don't go around making threats. You work hard to come to a solution and you get it the hell off your trailer, and then move on.
Yeah, and unlike look, if you're at a shipper for 8 hours, they don't have the product, you can just flip them the bird and leave.
Yep.
But if it's on your trailer that now and you show up and your appointment was for next week, that happened to one of our drivers. He showed up at a CSV with hand sanitizer back when everybody was hoarding that stuff, back when you couldn't find it on the shelves. And they still made him wait a whole week before they unload him simply because of the wrong delivery number.
Yeah, I did have that happen once, but luckily it was through a good broker that I have a rep with. That's an excellent rep, and they got it taken care of. And then a couple other times there was an issue with multi-drop loads where because you get delayed at one, you miss the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the brokers, you're stuck with that until you get a reschedule. This broker will just say, take it to this cold storage. And they don't even cut the rate on the load. Like you didn't do 400 miles that you agreed to do, but they still pay for it. Like it's a good broker. Not a lot of them out there like that.
Yeah.
But the cancellation thing's been eating us alive. And then right now you're stuck. Like the one today, you're stuck. The load canceled. There's no load. There's no last minute bookings. Like it's just done. You have no load. So you scramble. That's very stressful because I care about what happens to the drivers, and like I feel like it's my fault. Obviously it's not. I didn't do anything to cause it, but it's my responsibility to fix it. And that is extremely stressful.
So here's my approach on that. So one of my trucks I had to book, he picks up late tonight because of his delivery time. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of on edge a little bit because if he shows up at 11 o'clock tonight and that load's canceled or some BS has happened, luckily he's in a good spot where he might be able to find something tomorrow, but he's a new authority, so he might be limited. So I booked him another load that comes out of the delivery he'll make Monday to Tuesday. But until he picks up tonight, I'm going to be kind of like, because the potential for him to sit all weekend is there. So Fridays become especially because you can book ahead. You can be perfect, book ahead, and
Mhm.
have it all in the bag, and then all it takes was one pickup number to screw that up, right?
You hope
Or
for the
phone
best. You
number
book
to pop,
ahead and hope for the best.
right?
And I'm
And
with you on that. I have a guy. I don't really do dispatching service. I mean, maybe, but there's a guy that used to work for me, and we had to part ways. And he's like, "Hey, I still want to work with you." I'm like, "Well, okay." So he went and got his own authority. He wants me to dispatch him. Cool. I like the guy actually, and we're dealing with that. And I'm having a hell of a time booking him loads because obviously volumes are down. And you got 60 loads in that spot on the load board. There might be two of them that are willing to work with you. Because you're a new authority.
yep,
We're 60 days in, 90 days, a few more will take you, but it's really that 6 month period. And the really good ones are a year.
yep.
So if you got a new authority right now and your plan is to go run the spot market, I beg and plead with you, don't do it. Do what you can. Do what you can to get out of it. Lease onto a company if you already bought the truck because your options. I mean, if you have a gig like a power only gig set up you have something to do. But if you're just going to be spot market Johnny, man, I like for your own good, don't do it right now. It's
Cat Cassius King has got a good comment. Big time YouTubers say book last minute for best rates. I've got a buddy of mine who he's been on his own authority, who is in the reefer world, and he's been booking ahead, and he's been doing just fine. He's been getting good rates,
yeah.
and he's been nowhere near the stress. The only time he's stressed out if is one of his loads canceled. And
Hmm.
I am a firm believer that we've been spoiled for last year on this book at the last minute stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the time of that is over because the only thing left on that load board, like if you're looking for your Monday load, Monday at 9 a.m., the only thing left is the stuff that has horrible times, horrible delivery times, too much time on the load, or it's a product nobody wanted, or it's a customer like that you're going to lose a day on the receiving side.
Hmm.
Um,
You're gonna get less money now booking last minute than more because it's all you're getting is what's left over that nobody else wanted.
yep,
And they know there's gonna be 50 trucks looking and there's 10 loads available. You're not gonna get it.
no leverage, no leverage.
No,
But
no.
all right, DIY. Thanks for letting me on. I'm going to get
Yeah,
off
anytime, man.
to work,
Anytime.
man. So I appreciate your channel. Thanks for giving me the shout out. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Let's do it again. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yep. Thank you, sir. You have a
All right,
good one.
take it easy, man. Well, there you go. You hear it from the man. Uh Yeah, we're working ahead. Georgia Patriot says I've started booking 2 weeks out. You're kind of screwed if you have a cancellation because it's impossible to find a last minute load from point A to B specifically. It is, and if you live in a tough area, it's going to be hard to get home. But hey, they'll still cancel a load on you with no, it's hey, that's the industry, that's the business, that's the way it is. But when the shoe's on the other foot, there's not a lot of forgiveness. It's why hey, that relationship thing. I've had to cancel a couple loads on some people for that reason, and they're like, well, hey, you've done so good for us in the past. You get some mulligans, honestly, and everybody everybody needs some mulligans right now, man. It's like a long round of golf is what we're doing right now. But oh, to Snorlord, go back and listen to the Paul thing in its entirety if you get a chance. It's and anybody here coming in late, go back, watch from obviously watch the whole thing, but from a few minutes in with Paul, we started to get into the idea thing, and I really do want to hear people's opinions. Obviously, no personal attacks would be nice, but it's all about you guys. Really, is what makes this work. If anybody else has a better idea, hey, put your money where your mouth is. uh, it's scary for me. I mean, is now the time to be taking a big risk? I don't know. I don't know. Uh, but I know you got to do something. Like the same old here isn't gonna survive. It's not gonna sustain. So that's the big idea. Is Paul here? And I ain't nobody else I'd want on my side. I'll tell you that. And I feel like we've built a good relationship, a good working relationship, and trust relationship over the last couple years. I think you guys kind of see that with him, and I didn't know. I think it would ever come to that. I kind of leaning towards this feeling of something's going to happen somewhere. Like the pieces just naturally fit together, right? Uh, the day-to-day details, I still don't know how they work. There's a lot there. I don't, man, that's a lot of work for just two people too, because I still got to run. We still got to take care of these trucks, and it makes it better for them. Honestly, too, that's a big part of this. Like, we got to have freight for these trucks and the drivers. So I think they benefit from it too. I just hope that everything kind of holds together long enough, because this takes time to put together. Nothing happens overnight. There's a lot. Uh, so I think it makes it better for them too. Well, obviously it does. Freight. I think we all kind of got to let go of that notion for $5 a mile for a while. I still get it on some shorter stuff, but well, not shorter, but mid-range stuff. But it's few and far between. It really is. Um, I'd found this marketplace thing a while back where I guess technically they probably are a brokerage, but you could kind of see the companies on there, and you build a record over time with that company, and then eventually they might reach out to you to say, we want you as one of our, what do they call it, a network, a network carrier, I think they call it. But this they got no freight. Like I think they cut out the newer people and just went with their network carriers. But you know, got a lot of places I want to reach out to. What will we name it? It'll keep the name it has. I'm not looking to put the name out there right now. Uh, Cassius King says head hauls still look good. Back hauls are definitely down. I don't know, man. I was hitting up that place in Minnesota that we love so much today, and they wouldn't even answer me. Like, we've been trying to work with them more, and it was direct. And he's apparently they got apparently your boys took it all. Oh, here's a okay. We're at what 90 people in the chat right now. Let's bring in this scallywag and watch it drop like a rock.
I just wanted to say one thing real quick. Can you hear me?
No. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing real quick. Way back when I started watching you on YouTube, probably almost 2 years ago now, you've always talked about wanting to do things different or wanting to do things better than what you had seen going on. Let's talk about the way I purchased my truck. You wanted to give somebody an opportunity to purchase a truck through your carrier, but do it better than like Prime and all these other companies. So I think what you and Paul talked about is amazing. And what I mean by that is I believe that you are going to find a better way. I'm not saying it's going to cure all problems or cure everything, but it might be a better way than what we deal with right now on a daily basis. Does that?
Yeah, I think so too. Here's the thing. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So, like, for the last 2 years, we've been offering a better way, right? Seriously. Okay, hindsight 2020. Paul and I both knew it was a better way for small carriers to go to him and work with direct shippers. We both knew it's a better way, and still people didn't sign up. Some people did, but not nearly what it should have been. It should have been a big thing. And looking back, probably a lot of people are probably like, okay, I should have done that. But that's then. You can still do it. So people call. I'm like, and whenever Paul would come up with something new, he would run it by me, and I'm like, this is great. This is great. And then I'm like, well, how do you make people want it? And I would say, the spot market's too good. How do we compete with that? And that was the case. Like, you couldn't. Things are changing now. Like, people are doing that. So I don't know. That's to offer a better thing You can always offer a better thing. But how do you make people want it? And how do you make people? You can't make people want it. You can't make people participate in
No.
it. All you can do is put it out there. So this, we might put out the greatest thing ever. I can't make people want it or participate in it. That's the part that scares me.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I also think people, I guess I can only speak for myself. When you struggle enough, you're trying to find different options that might work for you. And I'm not saying your option is a cure-all or anything like that, but when people struggle or people are going through hardships or hard times, they want to find an easier path. If the spot market's this right now and you guys can offer contracted freight, or like Paul said, maybe freight that gets drivers home a little bit more and still be able to make a living on it, people are going to come. I mean, not to quote a dumb movie, but you build it, they will come. You know what I mean?
I heard it a little differently, but whatever. You would think so. You would think so. But you said that people are looking for an easier way. I think we got... We back?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. I honestly think we got to stop looking for an easier way. Put the hard work in. Well, here you go right here. Mark Ely said, I went from 99% haul and broker freight to 99% contract freight. I went from making an easy $8,000 a week to a hard $6,000 a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still here, right? If you do this, I'll genuinely make an effort to use it. Okay. I have no guarantees, but I think, I don't know. I don't see anybody else trying anything. And that's not critical of anybody or anything. Like, we're all out there looking for solutions. We're looking for new things. I've not seen anything new or anybody putting the effort out or ponying up some money, putting their money where their mouth is.
Well, that gets back to what I was saying. DIY. You've always done that. At least your core people.
From it.
I agree with that, but I'm saying the people that are in this chat, and if you've lost a lot of people because I showed up here, I apologize. But I think you have the community. You talked about with Paul, the community that you've developed, almost 30,000 subscribers. Very smart individuals enter your chat, and people
we let you come in here too.
Yeah, right. but people that aren't in this just for a quick money grab. So they are, when I say an easier path, I'm not talking about the fly by the wheel guy or girl. I'm talking about the person that's put in the time and effort, and now, like somebody like me, year and a half in or whatever, things have changed from when I started this.
Mm-hmm.
I benefit from everything you've talked about today with Paul because I'm leased onto your carrier. Am I making sense with that statement? That's what people like me, or people that would sign up your little list that you have of carriers, they would benefit from you and Paul, because I've benefited from you and Paul. Does that make sense?
But sometimes at a certain point it ain't enough. Like, a lot of times it will be, I guess there's no guarantee, but I think it's the best chance. I think it's the best chance, really. What was that? I think it'll even be better if things turn around. Think if things turn around and things get better and if freight picks up, and hey, it's even better yet, because then you're right where you want it. Like, everybody wants to be, where do you hear it? You hear it everywhere. Like, these damn brokers. You look at the comment sections of every trucking channel on YouTube. These damn brokers are screwing us. They're keeping all the money. I can't find a load. Well, by God, here's a chance to do something about it. Like, the chance to do something about it was there for the last 2 years with Paul. And I get it. Like, trucking was too easy. Rates were too good. Not too good, obviously. It was great. Like, we all enjoyed making money. I'm just saying they were too good to have to make you make a tough decision. But if you were forward looking, to the tough times, or you had been through it before, you'd be like, yeah, I see opportunity there. It's not too late. Like, things are going to move in this country. Like, if every shipper stops shipping freight and goes out of business, well, we got bigger problems. Like, we're all in real trouble. Screw trucking, right? it's a chance to operate. Obviously, we're never going to operate on the level of a Schneider or a JB Hunt. It's a chance to operate closer to that level because of you're part of some kind of like somebody said a co-op. That's a
Yeah.
that's a decent word for it. Somebody wanted to unionize them. We're not going to unionize here. We're not doing that. But resources. Everybody's still independent, but you're kind of pooling resources to an extent, right? It's a commitment, I guess, nothing more, and that counts for something. Granted, we already have some trucks, right? Uh, we have an asset like Paul, like you get my best efforts. Um,
That's all I was trying to say is I think you've preached, and the people that have been subscribed to you and watched your channel for years understand that you've always tried to preach, especially when you made this jump into becoming a fleet owner. You wanted to be different. You wanted to be better. I mean, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. You've said those exact words. And I think, like I said before, it might not be better, but it's an opportunity. And I think sometimes we don't take the risk or see the reward in maybe jumping into an opportunity until we do it. Maybe that's why people didn't sign up with Paul, or it's hard to take. I mean, how do I say it? You might make $500 to $600 less hauling contracted freight to the exact same spot. You know what I mean? That I've done that. And some guys or girls don't want to do that. But I saw, granted it was through you, I saw the reward, the long-term gain of hauling that freight versus maybe putting an extra $500 in my pocket. Does that make sense? Did I make, Mark said,
I get it. Yeah.
Mark said he works hard for his $6,000. I think we all work hard for that $6,000. And I also think if you can't operate and live on $6,000 a week, something's wrong.
Let's be honest. For the
Something's
past
wrong.
couple of years, you can make $6,000 at the drop of a hat. Like it was.
Yes.
There's times when it was pretty easy. Let's all be honest. But obviously, we all put in work, and trucking is not an easy job all the time. But you could. Sometimes you got to be like, I can't believe they were paying me that much money to do this load. Like this is gravy, but not always like that. But anyway, I don't know. That's
don't give up on your ideas, man. You're smart. You're a smart guy, and I'm not kissing your ass. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, that's because you're least." You're one of the smartest people I know, and I'm not saying that.
You don't know that many people, so.
Well, fuck off. Excuse my French. I'm being honest, man. Like, I think it's an opportunity, and it will only strengthen. I think it will strengthen the one guy that's got one truck, maybe one trailer, or a small carrier. It could strengthen that carrier to live out what they want, their goals.
Yeah, and it might suck at first because it takes a little while to get freight. It takes a little while to put carriers together, to put the system together. Things might not go smoothly, but you get there over the course of time. I don't know how it's a risk. I could fail. I don't know, but it might be my last best effort.
But you can say that about everything. How many brokerages are going to fail now?
If it doesn't
they took
work,
the risk.
If it doesn't work, I'll be hesitant to put a bunch of money into anything ever again. But yeah, Mark, nothing like getting 8,000 on 400 miles. It was fun while it lasted. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like you gotta say, like, I can't believe they're paying me this. But
I'm gonna jump off here now, so you don't lose everybody. I just wanted to.
You got nothing to do.
I know, but people don't like me. So.
Oh, we only lost 20 viewers. That's okay. I can.
Did you really?
We're 2 hours into it. It's probably tailing off anyway. Yeah, everybody. Bonanza says just go fishing. Nationwide fishing rights for all CDL holders. Slow loads could just go fishing. Yeah, I'd rather fish at home though, man.
I'll jump on that fishing gig.
I skipped. I didn't mean to skip all y'all's comments through this whole thing. Doggone. There were some good ones, but I was so focused on what we're doing here. Michael says, okay. Michael was in here one day. one of the last times we did this. I pray the trucking industry grows during this downturn. I am a shipper that uses flatbeds and step decks to carry my material and would love to see more consistent process in the trucking industry. Well, Michael, there you go.
There you go.
I mean, if you heard the idea, you're a shipper. If you're still in here, what do you think of what we presented? Would that be a good scenario for a shipper, right? To have somebody you can work with that has vetted carriers with a good reputation and good service, and that want to continue to work for you. You don't have to go out and find somebody new every time. I think it's a good, are the big shippers gonna maybe bite on that? I don't know, but like I know we talked to Michael, and he's a smaller shipper. It's probably exactly what he's looking for. Because let's face it, you have the mega carrier in there versus a guy like I don't know is there a flatbedder in here that I know of? I don't know. You're looking for flatbed carriers. The independent guy's been around for. He's gonna probably do a better job. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not gonna damage your product.
Right.
And he's probably old school and got a pretty good work ethic.
I also think you might underestimate the power of, say you do start something like this with Paul, and you start out small, and it, let's say by a year or two in, you have 4,000 or 5,000 people that are kind of in this co-op. You talk about those kind of numbers, and I understand that's not mega carrier numbers, but that's a big number. And if you can offer, like you said, the vetted carriers, they know the shipper's going to feel comfortable that their material is going to get there on time, undamaged, with good rapport from the driver. I mean, let's face it, a lot of us don't want to talk to brokers or keep giving updates and stuff, but you know what? It works if you do kiss a little ass. Like it does. It works. It helps. And that means something. I mean, it doesn't mean a ton, but it means something.
And there's times when it doesn't. There's times when it doesn't. Right now, it does. A while back, it was purely, can you move my freight? And I'll put up with a lot of crap because I got to get this load moved. And now it's like, you're living it. You've been hauling some freight for somebody, and they're like, man, your communication is awesome. Can you do this again next week? And they're not killing the rate, are they?
No, but it's very comfortable rate. I'm not going to pretend I'm hitting a home run, but I've listened to you. I've listened to Cash. It's doubles. It's doubles. If I get something that I can drive down the line and get a triple out of that, Mark said it earlier. I can live on $6,000 a week, and if you can't, I think something's wrong. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Is it what I was doing this time last year? No, it's not. But it's definitely like I'm nervous, but it's not killing me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that if you're in business, and not even trucking, any business, but trucking, we'll keep it to trucking because that's what we do. And trucking's kind of unique. And in one way that it's unique is you can go to trucking school, and for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I know there's new rules now with training, but I'm just going back to what it was. 2-3 weeks, get out of trucking school, and with no money out of your pocket, be put into a business, $150,000, $200,000 in debt with no money down, and be netting, grossing whatever a week, I don't know, $6,000, and depending on the place, netting $1,500, $2,000 a week. I don't know what the mega carriers. I'm just making stuff up. And to some people, that'll be like, "Wow, you're really getting taken advantage of." And to them, they may be, "What are you kidding? What are you talking about? This is more money than I've ever made in my life." So the barrier entry is very low in that way. And then yet at the same time, different strokes for different folks. If they might be really happy with that, where somebody else might be like, "Man, I wouldn't work for that." But at the same time, what is it? If everybody's happy with the deal they got, really, what is it anybody's business? However, I do like to see people do better and do the best that they can do. But to try to start there, I mean, it's hard. And if sometimes I feel like some people buy a truck to buy a job. Like a lot of times, and this is proven. Like a lot of times, you can make more money as a company driver. Like I know people that they haul fuel. They work for FedEx. They're killing it as a company driver. Plus, they got benefits.
Yep.
You gotta have. I kind of feel like you gotta kind of want to go somewhere with it to kind of keep leveling up or
Well,
something for the future or something different. Otherwise, I kind of feel like I'm just buying a job. And maybe,
yeah.
a lot of people are happy with that because they just want the freedom. They just want to be able to do what they want to do. And if that's what it is, hey, that's
That
awesome.
does
'Cause
play a role.
I understand the freedom part. Trust me. I've had jobs where, you got somebody looking over your shoulder every day, all day. And that sucks. But,
I live that every day.
well, some people need more supervision than others. Just saying. Hey, I don't mean following you on the e-log here to tell you, which way you got to turn, which way, the next turn is all the time. Happy to do it. Do you need help finding a parking spot for the end of today, by the way?
I'm in a parking spot.
Oh, so yeah, I mean,
They make me look like an ass.
I'm just teasing you. Uh, be capable of change. It's part of being, a business owner or entrepreneur is ability to change. I think we talked about that in a video with Paul when he asked you, like, what are some of the traits
Yeah,
it takes to
adapt.
be adapt. Yeah.
You know?
And at a certain point, try scary things. Do things that
I
make
mean,
you
we
uncomfortable. This is scary to me. I'll be honest with you. It's
well,
outside my comfort zone, but I
we
think it
we
has to happen.
we kind of discussed that a little bit this morning, and not sharing details or stuff, but I have experience in hauling flatbed. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
I mean, if the time ever comes that I need to adapt for my business to be successful, that's what I need to do. I think putting limitations on yourself is not the right thing. And you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about new entries and new authorities. Like, putting limitations on what you're going to do and how you're going to be successful in your business today in the market we're currently in my opinion, is a dangerous thing, because it limits your potential for growth. And right
Yeah.
now, you shouldn't be trying to grow. You should be trying to, like, survive almost. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a season, like I said, there's a season for everything. The season right now it's really, honestly, it's what you got up here right now. Like, you could be the best truck driver in the world and hit every dock on the first try, and a lot of skilled people, uh, and run hard and do everything like that, work on the truck and fix it. And then there's a time where you're like, let me smarter than the other guy right now. Let me see what they're thinking and where it's getting them, and then
mhm.
maybe I need to do it a little differently.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
Somebody's asking here, any recommendations on banks for a trucking business, preferably one that isn't scared to help financing a trucking company? Trucking companies are a tough sell in banks. They really are. And even so, with that being said, I prefer a credit union, like a local credit union, over a bank. They're not a lot of times as stringent on policies. And if you got to go the bank route, try to find a small local bank where you can talk to somebody face to face.
yep.
That's nice. Um, yeah, Georgia Page following up on that. But yeah, Jeff says DAT comment section needs a comment section. I would say sometimes those who post 500 miles and put down 550, those people should fly a kite. You can leave reviews on brokers. You just got to hit that. Oh, what the heck does it look like? They get a
It's
star
a little.
rating.
Yep.
Yeah, but be honest. If you're giving the broker a 1 star, say why. If it's a low rate, then say a low rate. You don't want people getting a misconception that they didn't pay you money, they owed you or something. So, put some details, and be careful what you wish for, because they could put that rating on you too. And if you do something they don't like, even if you don't feel like it was wrong or bad, you got to be prepared to be rated too. It's just like having a YouTube channel. You better have thick skin, because you're opening yourself up to all kinds of criticism and comments. And let me tell you what, some people are not nice and they get personal. There's really no call for that being personal, but you got to be prepared for it. So yeah, just remember, just like the transparency thing where people wanted to see brokers' rates, well, be prepared for it. You know, if they want to see your cost of operation, what's fair is fair. Bonanza says Ritchie Brothers is offering loans on anything you find to buy. I did not know that. That's not a great deal for Ritchie Brothers to be loaning all that money on all this overpriced equipment. If the market's going to tank, Ritchie Brothers is going to get destroyed. But it's got to be third party financing. Ritchie Brothers is not in the business of loaning money, as far as I know. I'm assuming they just match you up with a lender. Bad Red Line says it's a really good idea. I believe you can do it. I have a flatbed. I like you. Okay, well, thank you. And if we didn't even put everything out. Just wanted to see if there was an interest. I find DAT almost impossible to use. Trying to book 2 weeks out, they don't post a delivery window. Yeah, it would be nice if brokers had to post a little more information. But having seen the behind the scenes of how that works, a lot of them post from their TMS system. They don't go onto DAT to post a load manually. A lot of times, so I've used Ascend TMS. It's a transportation management software or whatever. I don't use it much because it's very complicated. When you build a load in your TMS, there's There's BlueJay. There's all kinds of TMSs out there. You can auto post that load from your TMS. So that's how most of them do it. Now, unless you go in there and manually put in specific information, you might have 20 of those loads and you can just auto post them, right? To go in there and post details on every one takes some time, and a lot of them aren't going to do that. So it's a lot of times why they're very vague. The people that put that in there have manually posted that, which I think is the way to go. If you're a broker and you post a load, do you want to take 500 phone calls on that load just to find out, oh, I can't pick up or deliver that when I'm supposed to? I would rather post the times, and you're going to get half the phone calls. And you're only going to get people that can move the load for you instead of wasting your time. Merely my opinion. But there's some needs. Another thing I'm kind of excited about with this thing with Paul is we have some needs in certain areas of the country that we go to pretty regular, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to have some freight out of those areas, direct freight, and it'd be exciting to be able to offer them that kind of resource, so that if we can't cover it with our trucks, obviously, that we have a backup plan and can still cover the freight for them and get it covered, not have to give it back and piss them off and have them take it away.
Right.
Because remember too, with this downturn and the volume's down, these brokerages want to survive, man. They're gonna start cutting each other's throats like you would not believe. And
it's going to be a war between them.
That's going to affect us.
Bidding war.
Yeah.
They'll drive it down as low as they can get it, and then that gets passed down to at least common sense tells me that. Maybe I'm wrong, but then that gets passed on to us. The rate's already beat up.
Yeah, I mean, like you take a okay, it's popular right now to pick on TQL, so let's pick on TQL. They have a lot of employees. I mean, they got to write a lot of paychecks. They have to, have margin for these people and volume for these people. Otherwise, they got to start laying off. The money's going to come from somewhere. It's going to come from somewhere, and they have to, if they, in a time like this, they don't much care what they get for a rate. They're going to secure the freight, and they're going to sell it to you for nothing. And they need volume. They need as many loads as they can get to make their nut. So it's and you're going to see some brokers probably go away, which probably needs to happen. But be careful of getting too deep into any one brokerage, especially if they're not a big, I wouldn't.
You mean putting all your eggs in one basket? Is that what you're saying?
Well, having any
or money.
Any one particular place owe you too much money. Obviously, if they're super high rated credit, I don't worry about Robinson paying me. Like, they're gonna pay me. JB, the odd thing about JB Hunt, if you go on DAT and look at their credit score, it's not. It may be better now, but for a while it was bad. It was in the 70s, and I don't know what it is now because I don't care. They've paid me every single time. But I think what happens is a lot of people can't follow billing instructions. Like, some places have some complicated billing instructions, and if you don't follow the instructions when you submit your invoice, you ain't gonna get paid. Uh, I think JB Hunt is a lot of what that was going on because I've never had anything but first class. They give me free quick pay, if I use them, and I don't really book through their Click and Go. I have this person that has these loads out of the area I'm at. I email them and say, "Hey, do you have this load next week? And here's what we've been doing it for," and they get it. Submit the paperwork the way they want. When I was still on the road, a lot of times that I could deliver the load on a Friday in Pennsylvania, and a lot of times that check was in my mailbox before I freaking got home. So I don't know why the bad rating on them. The only thing I can assume is that people ain't following instructions. How much brokers make per load? It depends. It depends. They might make $1,000. They might make $500. They might make $50. It all depends on what they can sell it for. It's supply and demand, honestly. And I'm not trying to dodge your question, but they might break even once if it's like in the last year. When things were great, when you could demand any price you want, there's loads they're going to lose money on. If it's 3 o'clock on a Friday and they have to have this load picked up by 4 o'clock, or they're going to lose the customer. And if you're the only truck there, guess what? They're paying you whatever the hell they got to pay you. And they might take an L on that one, but it's all supply and demand, man. It's just going to change from week to week.
You brought up an interesting point, though, too. Do we want them looking at our books? I don't want no broker looking at what, how much I'm making off of the load that he agreed or she agreed to sell me. Hell, I don't want them to see that.
No. And you're only going to hurt yourself. It's going to bring, well, there's a lot of issues. We all need to do business independently of each other and, sharpen our skills as best we can, negotiate as best we can, and know the business that you're in. And hell, even sometimes that doesn't work. There's brilliant people right now that are struggling. It's sometimes market forces are more powerful than you. Right? And most times they are. You just learn to operate as best and as strongly as you can within those market forces. Market forces, just like farming, man. Like, you don't control the price of milk. The government sets the price of milk for the large part. You say, well, if everybody dumped their milk, made a shortage, you're going to get paid more. No, you're not. Like, somebody else sets that price. You operate as best you can within the market that you're in. Why no regulations on brokers? They have regulations on them. What kind of regulations are you looking for? Kind of be more specific. We as drivers have many regulations. Why brokers don't? They have some. I mean, they got laws they got to follow. But I mean, you're the one behind the wheel that's has the exposure to public safety, right? A broker is never going to be behind the wheel rear-ending somebody or whatever. So I think that's kind of the way they look at it. Like, you're the immediate danger to public safety. Brokers, yeah, they might try to push you hard to make a schedule or this and that, but the public sees you, not them. Desperate drivers will also take the rates down. Yeah, it's like Snorlord said, man. If you went out and paid $320,000 for that brand new Peterbilt that was on Craigslist last week, and you didn't have some good things happening right now for freight, if you didn't put much down, you're probably going to walk away from it. If you did, you don't have a lot of options but to haul some damn freight. I mean, you got to move. You got to move, brother. So it'll take time. Some things are going to sort themselves out. Market works that way. What are you going to do between now and then. It's a hard time to go through. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be any kind of guru of anything. I'm as nervous as all you right now. We're largely in the same boat. Just the numbers are a little different. I'm probably a little more exposed than a lot of people, but I also have the ability to make some things happen. And I think I kind of feel the obligation to try. So it's kind of where I'm at now. If 6 months from now I come to you and we're doing a YouTube fundraiser for make my mortgage payment. Just remember, I'm the one that put themselves out there to try to help everybody, right? If we need to raise some money to fill the LP tank so we got heat and hot water, everybody better chip in because DIY put his money out there to try to start this thing to help us. No, I'm kidding. I think some things are more valuable than money, and I think Paul's one of those. Some assets are worth more than money. And
he's very smart, and he articulates his statements. I mean, I'll be honest about something. I'm a little bit like I don't pay attention to a lot of things very well, and what I mean by that is,
you mean like when you're driving and backing up and turning?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I take my career very seriously, but he lays stuff out for like the layman to understand. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if he got into all the analytics about everything, and that's something else we were talking about today, like he's a big numbers guy. He works analytics. Have you ever tried reading or listening to somebody that works in think tanks and stuff like that? Their mind operates at a different level than like mine. Mm-hmm. He lays stuff out that makes sense, where like the average person of my intelligent level can grasp what he's saying.
Cassius King says, are you saying he's articulate? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Very articulate. Thank you, Cassius King.
Are you saying he can
start making fun of me? I'm out of here. You guys take it easy. Hope everybody keeps on trucking, and we'll all make it through this. But I just wanted to say your plan, like I said, man, ever since I've known you, you've always talked about finding a different way or a better way, something that benefits the people that are a part of it, ever since I've met you. And I think this is a great idea. So
okay. All right. Well,
all right.
Pony up some cash to make it happen, and we'll make it happen.
Need a loan? I'll talk to you later, man. Take it easy.
Hey,
yeah.
I forgot what. Can you tell everybody what it is before you go?
No, because you'll cut me off. Well, keep on trucking.
You're learning, grasshopper. Oh, there you have it. There you have it. We're near 3 hours here. Anybody else want to get any last words in here? I'll drop the link here if you want to, or questions, or anything like that. Some TQL brokers are rude. They are, but don't be so naive to think that some truck drivers aren't rude too. Like, I've seen it. Back in the, does anybody remember back before cell phones when you used to have to go in a truck stop and stand at the payphone? There's a line of payphones in every truck stop, and guys would be there calling on loads and stuff. I've heard some nasty stuff, man. Or sitting, back in the day when there was restaurants and truck stops, you'd sit there and people at the counter would be calling because there was phones by every chair. People would be calling, and man, they would say some nasty things. But how long, Trucker Abdallah? Hey, thanks for coming in. How long do you think before we're left holding the bag with pre-emission trucks OTR? Oh, here's the thing. As if we need more reasons for things to be crappy in trucking, right? Just let up on the regulations. I'm not saying you gotta go and reverse some regulations, but stop with the new stuff. Stop. Like, California is committing economic suicide right now with their emissions laws and their AB5. Everything they're trying to do in a time where it's tough for truckers, every single thing they're trying to do is going to make it exponentially worse for them. And they don't want to let up. They could say, okay, we're going to keep these laws where pre-emissions trucks can't come. We're going to keep them on the books because we think we need to do it. It's still a good idea, but we're just going to, for 2 years, we're going to say, don't worry about it. We're going to put a moratorium on it. We see how bad you're struggling with fuel prices, blah, blah, blah. Here's a moratorium so everybody can get through this. But no, it's full steam ahead. Was it next year something like 80,000 more trucks that are based in California are illegal? What are you doing? It's to push an agenda that for them can't happen fast enough, but in reality can't happen overnight. You can't change everything to electric vehicles over. This takes time. And for the last how long we've been saying autonomous trucks are coming, they're coming. I get it. We all have disagreements. We're not ready. Have you seen in the last 2 weeks how many companies have rolled out actively on the road autonomous trucks? I saw 3 different articles. 2 of them were 500 trucks and 1 of them was 600 trucks. Now they haven't hit the road like that, but they're actively being ready to be put into service. Are we ready for them? No. Infrastructure is not ready. They don't care. What I think people have to understand or wrap their mind around, and it's not easy, is that they don't care if we're ready for them or not. Nobody cares. They have an agenda, and this is not a political statement. I don't, one way or another, I don't care. But they're going to do it. They don't care what I think. They don't care what you think. They don't care if the technology is ready, if the infrastructure is ready. They don't care if there's battery charging stations. They don't care if there's enough lines on the road for the LiDAR to read the lanes. If everything is properly GPS mapped, it's full steam ahead. So that's their perspective, right? We obviously have a different one. We know it's not ready, but apparently what we think doesn't matter, as if it ever did, honestly. But that's happening at a time when they think we need it. We don't think we need it. So there's a whole green agenda thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not that you don't have to not care about the environment to be against this green agenda. Like, there's plenty of reasons for it. The economy is not quite ready for it. Manufacturing isn't ready for it. It's not. Times are tough. It's hard to make that economic shift for everything too. I just mute the phone there for a second. If you're against it, that does not mean you hate the environment. You're against going green, or you're for everything. I'm certainly care about the environment, but being not ready for electric vehicles or autonomous electric vehicles is not being ready. Do they have? Did you see that cargo ship that burned down a little while back? Now that whole company has a policy: no more used EV vehicles on their cargo ships, because they found out that that's what started the fire, apparently. Burning up all that crap in the ocean, and that's not so good for the environment. So there's a lot of issues. But all I know is we can believe what we want to believe. We can have very good reasoning for it, and they don't care. They're still going to do what they're going to do. So we got to learn to deal with that, right? So at any rate, I think I got to get back to work here. I was a little ahead on everything here, and got a couple things that need my attention. Get set up. Hey, what is it? Today's Friday, right? I only had one load cancel. How about that? The last couple of Fridays have been an absolute nightmare. I don't have in a tough place for a load for the weekend. That's uncommon. The weekends, I tell you what, man, the weekends have been especially brutal. Saturday freight is garbage. I tell you what, Sunday freight, a little better. But if if you're getting empty on a Saturday and want to load, you're in a tough spot, man. Sundays are considerably better, but to have a load cancel at the end of the day on a Friday, well, I had one today, but it was, what was that, 2 hours ago. So we got that resolved here. I was taking care of that. Well, we're talking to Paul here, but I think that's cause for celebration. But I got a million things to do. I don't even want to show you my desk right now. I gotta do all the IRP renewals. That's $15,000 I gotta put out for license plates here in the next couple of days. Waiting for some updated rate confirmations here for some detention. You know, everybody likes to promise you detention, and then after you deliver the load, they don't know you anymore. Gotta love that. That's at a new level, along with cancellations. And we got to start on last quarter's numbers here. If all the state, New York, New Mexico, Oregon, Kentucky, we got to do my numbers for last quarter, do the profit and loss. And I think priority tonight, though, is get everybody, all the drivers squared away to where they need to be. And we're going to go to the local pub here and forget some things. I need, you ain't seen me on YouTube in a while. It's been stressful, it's been hard, and I ain't been feeling good. And it's about time I go out and, teach my liver a proper lesson, right? We don't want it to get confused. But yeah, so we need to blow off some steam tonight and get rid of some stress. I tell you what, man, that stress will get you. That stress will get you every time. If you're feeling stressed right now because everything that's going on, give yourself a release. And you ain't got to go party, but allow yourself to forget for a short period of time, if that. And don't forget about your family that's feeling that stress right along with you. Need to spend some quality time with my dog too. She's being neglected here lately. But thanks everybody for coming in. I hope to hear from some of you when this is all this. I don't know how long this takes. There's a lot to do and put together, and some things are legal, and we still got to talk between the two of us and make sure that talk about the day-to-day stuff and what our jobs are and what things look like, and then if it's really going to happen. But thanks for everybody for listening and giving your opinions. And hey, dude's got to try something, right? Dude's got to try something. So looking forward to it. Everybody, take it easy. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I would appreciate it. If you know somebody that's an independent, one truck guy who's struggling, say, hey, go to this video. Here's when it's watch from this point to this point where we talk about what we talk about. If they don't want to watch the whole thing, just say, listen to this and what do you think? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you want to be a part of it? Send them the video, share it out, whatever. And we will get back. We gotta do some catching up on some things here. And everybody take it easy, and y'all have a great day.